Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Tabletop Notch this fine Sunday Eve, where we play a little bit of Dungeons and Dragons, and the world is right for sure.
Just a little. There's much rejoicing.
Welcome back, everybody. We will be diving into Chapter 64 this evening. We're well on our way to the Gentle Void landmark Leopold's Garrison, and then from there, just a hop, skip, and a jump to... Dillisu. A real big skip at the end, all the way to Dillisu.
It's not funny.
It's the equivalent of the North Pole.
It's a little funny.
So we will be jumping into that. We'll be sort of finishing up or in the middle of a long rest period, so we'll be fresh and ready to go on the following day. Anyone have any thoughts, things they want to say before we dive in?
I actually have nothing today.
Whoa.
Wow.
All right.
I have just above nothing to say. I think today we all just have to be grateful for the day because the holidays are not that impressive. But there are always some. And it is National Hot Buttered Rum Day.
That sounds awesome.
That
Actually,
sounds
really good.
excellent.
Hot buttered rum is delicious.
Okay, so you
Okay, I lied. Surprise! It's the best day ever.
Again, my gauge of what you think is a good
Yeah.
holiday and what isn't is...
Here's a great
I have
idea.
diversified interests sooner than other people. And also, this is debatable. National Bootleggers Day.
Oh.
So all those secondhand DVDs you got,
All those
you know,
Kennedys.
were
People illegally streaming this.
right?
Yeah. Give us our
Twitch
money.
streams?
The Monopoly
would you?
money
It's
you've been
free.
passing around. So yeah, those are the big two.
Be watching
Wow.
this through a VPN.
Yeah, right. Drink your buttered rum.
On
and
theme
need
for
to.
watch
shanties.
Aladdin as it skips 16
Bootlegger
times. I don't know.
was a crappy restaurant in Fitchburg, Mass.
Oh.
That is long since
What was
closed.
the best? What was the best meal they served at Bootleggers?
Oh man!
And did you serve it? Is
No.
that
Served there.
And did you spit in it?
No, I went there when I was a young man. No, just
Many moons.
just
Sounds like a
American
place
fare
that sells
junk.
like a bloomin' onion type.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a ribs sandwich dipped
Like an
in the
overcooked
jus.
steak. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, there we go.
Wow, guys.
Nice and rubbery.
Good intro.
With warm thoughts of bootleggers and buttered rum. We're going to throw it to the intro and we'll see you guys on the other side.
Let's go.
Before we go to the recap, there was one thing you forgot.
I did forget. Comrade Tortel did more fan art, and this time it's of Orba. I haven't posted it yet, but I wanted him to see that we were all super thrilled when we saw it, and it's so fucking cute.
So
very
cute.
cute.
And if
It
you
is
need
really
us to
cute.
roll again for
Oh,
who's
for the
next,
final
Ooh.
two.
please remind me to do so.
Why don't you two go ahead and roll right now? And
Roll
if he makes it, it's fine.
Yeah, if you want to do it, that's fine.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, ladies.
14?
18.
Wasted all the good rolls on that.
Yeah.
Wasted?
Yeah, my next attack roll is gonna be 3.
So you don't have to by any means.
Yeah, you don't have to.
In case you wanted to do
But
it.
she does swing a flail
But,
4 times.
You know, it might not be a Tortel holiday any day soon. Just kidding. I appreciate it.
Okay.
In chapter 63, catching thugs and beating rugs. A last-second attempt to offer our help to the Halflings of Hackerton fell on deaf ears. Determined not to risk their jobs or lives, they made no initial indication that they'd be asking strangers for assistance. But as we passed by the final row of houses, a stone with a note attached was tossed our way out of sight of the guards. With a deft mage hand, Orba was able to retrieve the letter without drawing any undue attention. And we were told that if we wanted to make a real difference, we should track down a woman named Joella at Leopold's Garrison, who'd been spending money meant for supplies on frivolities. Given Beezaura's history, we knew we'd be walking on eggshells through this particular Gentle Void stronghold, but we vowed to see how we might be able to push Joella in the right direction, and in turn give these halflings some small peace of mind. From there, it was a quiet couple of hours before arriving at a small Broken Crown checkpoint, and while its existence along this road was hardly surprising, the person manning the post was. Looking physically weak but much improved given the state we saw him in last, was Amari Magomed, whose life we'd saved during our foray into the creeping ravine weeks earlier. We were glad to find that he'd survived long enough to receive medical attention, and he was delighted to meet the group that his brother spoke so highly of. We spent some time catching up, and he seemed in good spirits, but he did have some concerns about his 2 co-workers, Brian and Emerson, who had occupied this out-of-the-way post for longer than him, and who he suspected were making some extra coin on the side in an underhanded way. Amari, seizing the opportunity to solicit help from some people he trusted, asked if we'd help him investigate in exchange for a writ of service that, in combination with our stash of Gentle Void favors, would give us a leg up on any future negotiations up north. We agreed, and after providing a distraction, Amari split us into 2 groups to maximize our odds of finding something useful. Erland and Safira climbed through the checkpoint's 2nd-story window, where they discovered through some careful sleuthing that Emerson kept a locked compartment requiring a specific combination of tiles to open. By sifting through his belongings, they pieced together enough information to narrow down the required pattern, and inside found notes that seemed to strongly suggest Emerson was notifying either Gentle Void or just bandits about what travelers might be worth robbing along the Ackley Grove Road. In the basement, Orba, Graven, and Beezaura found a rather unremarkable storage cellar. But when lifting the carpet, revealing a hidden slot in the floor, the rug sprung forth and attempted to smother their closest target. Our scuffle with this magical construct was challenging in more ways than one, as not only did attacking the rug also hurt the Goliath wrapped up inside, but we had to keep the noise to a minimum to avoid waking the sleeping Brian on the floor above. After beating the carpet back to the floor, we looked at what had been stashed underneath it. Some gifts and gold that were the likely spoils of an illegal operation. After carefully putting everything back in place, we returned to Amari, who was encouraged by our findings and happy to hand over the writ of service. As we waved our goodbyes, we wished Amari well, and we kept riding until nightfall. Mostly unhindered day of travel that gave us a good pace to reach Leopold's Garrison by tomorrow. With camp set up and our watches organized, we lay down to rest, thinking of how best to approach Gentle Void territory, and we asked ourselves, how far out of our way were we willing to go to confront Joella, or learn about the prisoners being kept within the garrison? Which would be more useful once we reach Navikapura, the writ or the favors? And though it takes Graven longer than 4 minutes to die of suffocation, what modifier is used to determine whether he dies of embarrassment first? We find out now on chapter 64 of A Peek Beneath the Veil.
Jeez.
Those are getting more savage.
Those are pretty savage.
Yeah.
Well then.
Quiet.
After a day of rain, the nighttime air is sharp, brisk, And as the fire dies out, the subsequent watches feel especially long. Beezaura sits upright, using her bedroll as a lap blanket, and she keeps an easy set of eyes on her surroundings while absent-mindedly tinkering with the dials on her draft jacket. Having already put it to considerable use, you're even more impressed at this point than the day Reyna Kiros handed it to you. Its complexity of construction in no way hindering its ease of use or ability to withstand a hearty blow, of which you've taken more than your fair share the past couple days. You're having no difficulty staying awake, your mind racing with thoughts of a return to Leopold's garrison. Though likely the men from your previously Northbound unit had moved on to Navikapura or beyond, the possibility remains that the wrong set of eyes could wander your way and match you to a description from the well-kept ledgers of the Gentle Void. It's a bit past midway through your shift when you spot someone in the distance to the northeast. He's moving slowly in your direction, and he has a torch held up in his left hand, but it's died down to the point of just giving off a very faint aura of light. Still, in the dark of night, it's enough to reveal the face of a young man, or probably more accurately, an older boy, as he couldn't be of more than 17 or 18 years. He has a leisurely, meandering gait, almost disoriented, or perhaps just exhausted. And at his current pace, you certainly still have a few moments before he gets close enough to speak to him without yelling. You're not even really sure if he's quite seen you yet, but he holds the torch, and he moves along, a little closer, steps at a time, and you sit there and watch.
I guess I didn't take off like my armor and stuff like that when...
You would certainly, for your watch, we can say that you would have had it on just in case.
Right.
So, sure.
I'm gonna move my bedroll and stand up slowly. And since I'm like small, it won't really... he won't really probably see me. And just keep my hand on my flail and just wait for him to come up. If he does.
You stand quietly, hand ready, and he continues at the same pace. One step, another step, again sort of holding the torch, and he gets a little closer. Close enough to look him over a little more. You see that he has very pale skin and a short, tousled hairstyle, almost like cowlicks from a restless sleep, or maybe from frequently running his fingers through it. He has a fairly fine but not extravagant structured jacket with a high collar, though it's been dirtied significantly. A number of dark splotches that look like they could be mud stains, especially down at his right shoulder and side, where it looks like maybe at one point he might have fallen in the mud and then gotten back up. And he takes a few steps closer. And he gets to a point where, 60 feet or so away, you could theoretically speak to him without waking the whole group if you wished to.
I'm gonna take like 2 steps forward.
Sure.
Hello?
And finally he seems to sort of truly lock eyes with you. It certainly seemed like he was headed in the direction of your camp, but not focused on you, and for the first time he sort of makes eye contact. My father and our carriage broke down and toppled over up the road. There's a spare axle that we have, but we've not the strength to right the carriage. Could I ask for your brief assistance, please?
Are you alright?
Give me a perception check as you ask that.
14.
As you ask that question, you sort of look him over to do your own assessment in
Right.
addition to hearing his response. And in addition to the sort of mud, the dirt, the sort of dirtied hair, as he gets close enough that the light is sort of shining over his face just a little bit from the ends of this torch. There's enough of him lit that big splotch of mud on the right shoulder. You see that, and it's kind of smeared down to the front. And then at first, from a distance, it looked like there was another kind of splotch of mud up near his left shoulder, kind of up near his neck. But as he gets closer, it looks like dried blood. A dark splotch that's sort of a darker, different color than the mud on the other side. So you notice that, but as you speak the question, yes, I'm fine.
Did your carriage topple, or were you in a fight?
Toppled over. Carriage.
And your father?
He's back at the carriage, but he's hurt.
Where were you headed?
Headed south.
It's just the two of you.
Yes.
Why were you headed that way?
We're moving from Navikapura.
Why?
No work there.
What do you do?
My dad used to... And for a moment he kind of pauses. And it seems like he's thinking very hard. But it doesn't strike you as searching for a lie so much as searching for the answer, as if you asked him something he never thought of before.
Do you need medical assistance or water before going back to your wagon?
Yes. Water would be nice, thank you.
If you'd like to come over to our camp, can you make it here on your own?
I can, yes. He takes a couple steps toward you.
How old are you?
17.
Where are you hurt?
Not hurt.
You're not.
No.
Seems there's a bit of blood on you.
He looks down. He seems to search for it for a moment. And his eyes kind of run over where you see the blood, but then he just kind of turns away from it. No.
You don't see the blood.
No.
Who was next watch?
Who was it?
I was last watch. What
I
watch
was
were you?
fourth. She's first.
You were first?
Oh, I think I might have been
Ben
second.
Graven would have been next.
Oh, and you're like suffering, aren't you? Like
Again, remember that
Yeah.
also just to refresh, you can have a brief interruption and still
Okay.
go back and get the full benefits of the
Okay.
rest if someone, assuming you don't, go off and do something.
I'm gonna. How close is Graven? Pretty close.
They're all sitting
Yeah.
around. Yeah,
You can
space
kick
about
them.
this large.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. As he's walking up, I'm just gonna. Graven.
So you give him a little sort of nudge.
There's something wrong.
Do you mind just waking for a moment? There's
I've done that part already.
there's an unexpected visitor that I think that might need our help.
You sit
I
up.
can see,
Great.
yeah.
So you sit up and you see him sort of slowly approaching, and as he sees you sit up, he turns his attention to you. My father and I, our carriage broke down and toppled over just up the road. There's a spare axle, but we've not the strength to ride it. Could you spare a moment for a brief assistance?
He said the
Who
same.
is this?
I don't know. What is your name, sir?
Alpin.
Help him stop. There.
He stops.
I can see the blood and stuff on him.
Give me a perception check.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Yeah, I mean, it's now, especially now that he's a little bit closer, you have a better sort of view of him, and you can see it.
Does
Yeah,
he look?
muddy.
He looks like pale too. You said.
Yes, he does.
Like blood loss. Like.
Possibly.
Graven. He doesn't notice the blood on his own body. he be a ghost?
I don't think so. I'm gonna get a little bit closer to him.
Sure. How close do you want to get? He probably stopped 40 feet away from the campsite.
I'll go like 10, 15 feet towards him.
Okay. Sure.
Do I see any wounds on him?
Even with that perception check, he's wearing clothes, so the clothing is not slashed or anything, so there's no obvious. But if he's wounded and it's under the clothes, you can't tell that.
Yeah.
He asked for water. And our help. What is your last name?
Agostini.
And your father's name?
Veros.
I'll take my water skin and just like toss it near his feet.
He reaches down, he picks it up.
I'm just gonna keep like real close eye on him and see if anything weird.
He unscrews it. And he goes to sort of, you can see sort of licking his lips, sort of in thirst or with a dry sort of mouth sensation. And he goes to take a sip. I didn't know the water was hot.
My water wasn't hot, was it?
No.
Even if I slept on it, even if I was laying on top of it, it wasn't that hot.
Graven.
There's something off about this man.
Should we wake Orba to see if there's any magical essence in him?
I'm gonna...
Graven curses himself out quietly in the dark.
I'm gonna take my mace off my hip and like light it and come even closer to him.
And he turns from the light a little bit.
I'm gonna try to reach out and touch him.
He doesn't react.
Okay.
Do you want to touch him, or are you just reaching out to him?
I want to see if I were to try to use something as like a... So my spare the dying says touch a living creature that has 0 hit points. Would I be able to tell?
That's interesting.
Like, would it give me kind of a like, oh, I can tell this isn't a living creature or something like that? Like,
I think it would be inconclusive because an undead is neither of those things.
Right.
Like it's not a living creature, but it's a reanimated creature, so
Okay.
that wouldn't definitively tell you that.
and what about cure wounds? A creature you touch regains hit points. If it was an undead or if
An
there was...
undead is still a creature.
Okay, so I could technically
Yes.
heal like
Yeah.
an undead creature. I don't have the good stuff. I don't have the good stuff right now. The goods. I don't have the goods.
Should we wake Orba?
Looks through his spellbook and he goes, "What's wrong with you?" Tell me.
What's your deal, man? Speak
Just tell us your secrets.
Speak the truth. You. I'm gonna try to cast Cure Wounds on him.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yep.
You just
You
ask.
do that. Huh?
I just want to ask you, like, is he magical?
He gains 6 hit points.
So do you have to touch him to do something?
Yeah.
Okay, so you reach out and you touch him. And the healing energy courses out. And as he sort of feels it, he sort of... But he doesn't react to it.
He doesn't react. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't...
How do you feel?
What happened to you?
My father...
Oh, jeez.
How far away is your father? Did you come here in a straight line?
Yes. Just up the road.
They were traveling south.
Stay here.
Now that you reached in close enough to touch him, give me another perception check.
16.
16. As the energy sort of poured out through your hand and into this young man, you could see the hairs on his arm sort of flood, which you've seen before as it sort of the energy pours through. It's almost as if the skin is like absorbing it into the body the way that the magic energy kind of pours forth. Mm-hmm. And as it does so, and he sort of had that reaction, he sort of tilted back a little bit. He moved his head back, almost like reeling from just sort of the coursing of energy. Mm-hmm. And you heard this almost sticky. And then when it moved back, you heard it close. Almost like a large wound that...
And the sound came from back here?
Came from the bloodied area.
Bloodied area? Yeah. Okay. Stay here. And I'm gonna kind of walk back towards Beezaura. And under my breath, I think this young man has been mortally wounded. And he has lost his senses. And I don't know if I have the power to fully heal him. There's a good chance that his father is already dead and he will die soon.
Do we just leave him?
We can retrace his steps in the morning, but I don't think that there's anything we can do for this man.
You think he's just hurt? There's nothing suspicious about him. He's been saying the same thing over and over again.
His mind, his body is he's barely on his feet.
Do you really think their carriage just fell over?
I don't know if I want to check it out right now. You want to look into it right now?
No.
Young man. Turn and go back to your father. We will follow your steps. We will come to aid you if we can. You will find no help south of here.
And he turns slowly. And he turns back one more time to kind of look at the group. And he kind of looks over at the people that are still sleeping, that haven't woken. And he turns.
Do we notice anything on his back?
No. And he begins to walk slowly in the opposite direction, back towards where he came.
I don't like it any more than you do.
Didn't want to leave him to die, but
he will
there was
die.
Something off about him for sure. I don't know if it was just the wounds or something greater than that. But if it was something bigger than that, I can only assume it was some sort of trap.
We'll keep our watches tonight and we'll investigate in the morning.
Okay, thank you.
I think guys still have some time left, right? For sleeping.
Yes, sorry.
Okay. It's alright. It's just making sure.
Get some rest.
Wake me if anything happens.
Will do.
Garrison returns to his watch. Beezaura, if she wasn't awake before, she certainly is now. Sort of the hyper alertness, especially sort of keeping an eye in the general direction the boy came from.
I'm just gonna stay standing and just pace back and forth.
Slowly back and forth. Make sure to check maybe some of the other directions that you weren't looking at as much. Time goes by. Turns to Graven's watch.
Sorry. Now's definitely the time.
Fine. But nothing else happened, I assume.
No, just wake me if you need me.
Yes.
Time goes by.
I had a pretty good roll, too. It wasn't an 18,
Yep.
but...
So.
Graven's watch goes by. Anything anyone else was looking to accomplish in the night?
Who was right before me?
Me.
Yeah, I'll say something to Orba just as she wakes me up.
Did you mention anything at the end of your watch, just so...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So who was after
me?
Graven? Safira, and then
Yeah.
Orba, and then Erland? Is that what it was? So,
Yeah.
I mean, what did you tell her? You don't have to, I mean, if you wish.
Well, let's do. Nothing to be alarmed about, but there was a young man, I think gravely wounded, that was approaching this direction. Beezaura and I sent him back the way he came, and we can follow up in the morning, but just keep an extra sharp eye out.
Okay, he didn't seem interested in, attacking us, did he?
No.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out.
The next watch comes, Erland pass the information, or Orba, sorry, pass the information. It's a game of telephone. There's like, someone that Graven injured.
And it gets to Erland. Erland wakes up. I heard you killed a guy. Wait, what?
Kill someone on that?
Not totally sure what happened, but apparently someone injured wandered through the camp and talked to Beezaura and Graven, and I guess they sent him back on his way. I don't know. Just keep an eye out. I didn't see anything, so.
They didn't help him?
Well, I'm assuming they said they couldn't do anything for him. I'm assuming that's true. He didn't seem like a threat. They said they would maybe come back in the morning.
Oh, okay. Nothing we can do about it, I guess. So. Thank you.
I mean, and Safira kind of.
Yeah, it's fine.
And then finally, Erland.
So there was this guy, and he was hurt, and he walked through our camp, and Beezaura and Graven sent him away. That's all I got.
You're probably not the person to ask, but why did they just send him away? Why did they... The Goliath is a healer, why didn't he...
They said they couldn't do anything for him, but that we could check in on him in the morning, I guess? Up the way? I don't know.
If I, look around, do I see footprints that aren't obviously ours, walking away from camp?
Give me an investigation check.
While Orba's still awake.
She sleeps.
22.
Yeah, to tell Safira.
22.
No one would know.
You wander a little bit outside of the sort of circle of the camp, and because it kind of rained throughout most of the day yesterday, there's some muddied footprints that seem to come up, not all the way to the camp, and then they turn back in the other direction.
They seem human, they seem...
Yeah, it's a boot print, yes.
Well, Tiefling, I found, perhaps where this man came from. I assume that we should not pursue or anything.
Is it going to be in the direction that we'll be traveling?
Yeah, he came from
Right.
the north, yeah.
Well, we're heading that way anyways, so... Nice eye.
Alright.
Okay.
One last piece of advice, Tiefling, before we get to Leopold's Garrison tomorrow. It's probably going to be potentially the most gentle void we'll be seeing in quite some time.
Yeah, I thought about that.
In addition to keeping your head down and obviously not engaging too heavily with the gentle void, I would not find yourself alone. Stick with the group. If we split up, I would even say do not even be with one other person from our group. Not that I don't trust anyone, just that the gentle void has a way of leveraging information. And if you're with two of us, chances are the other one will also be able to, perhaps facilitate the moral conundrum that the gentle void are good at needling.
I understand, that's a good idea. Thank you.
Trust no one. In Leopold's Garrison.
Oh, sure, yes.
Tomorrow.
When we get there. Eventually.
I mean, I would even say be extraordinarily careful about who you trust, about where you come from, what you're doing.
Yes.
In how it relates to the Goliath, and in anything else you may not have told us.
Okay. Yeah.
Alright. Wow. Also, take my watch.
There's always something. This guy.
And the night continues on.
That was
The sun
rather
begins to
helpful.
rise.
Smells like trust no one except for me.
Sorry.
And the morning comes.
Oh, there you go.
Alright.
and sort of waking with a little sort of as soon as everyone kind of the consciousness kind of comes in, everyone kind of sort of looks around quickly to make sure that nothing had happened or no other additional signs of someone else passing through the camp.
Can I, as it's getting sort of light,
Yes.
Can I maybe try and gather some food for the group at all?
It's not like a forested area the way the Ackley Grove was. It's very open.
Okay.
I mean, there's some animals but larger ones like deer and stuff that you'd have to go out of your way to
so
hunt.
there's no like berries or...
No, it's
Okay,
it's
cool.
very hilly and open and grassy here. There is not
All
as much
good.
of that. So party rises.
Good morning.
Morning. Should we try to track down this fellow?
Yes, I found the footprints are still visible. What was this man?
You let them all know, I guess.
I wanted them to watch out, yes.
Understood.
So
What,
from
is
what
it
I
secret?
understand, you just sent this man away
He
who
was-
needed help?
From what I could feel, I tried to heal him. I believe there may be more to it, but I think that he was mortally wounded. Like,
Could you not heal him? You've brought us back nearly from the
I
dead.
mean, truly.
You sent away a dying man?
we're going to we can follow him north and see. He had a story about his father's broken carriage and an axle.
But that is really odd, actually, isn't it? That you tried to heal him and the spell didn't work. That's never happened before,
You
has it?
don't know that it
It
didn't,
didn't
work.
Yeah.
Could he be...
I was worried that he was undead. And that he was some kind of either a
So
spirit
you
or
say
a
gravely injured. You do mean gravely injured.
I
He
don't
was very
know the
pale
nature.
and repeating the story word for word every time.
His
So
mind wasn't all there.
Is that a kind of magic, perhaps?
Perhaps.
Well, it's magic or it's a head injury.
No, but is that... but if he's repeating a story word for word, is there a spell that you know that's like that?
Would anything ring a bell for me?
If a creature was charmed in some way and trying to enact the instructions of another creature, perhaps they might stick to a specific set of instructions or words that they were given. That's theoretically possible.
Are there like parasites in this world that
damn.
you might know about?
Holy shit.
Like a Futurama green word thing?
Not so much like that.
Yes.
There are certainly
Yes.
creatures that have charming-like abilities that can sort of manipulate their hosts, as it were. Pale skin, neck wound, aversion to water. Does that mean anything to you? Give me a history check.
The
Wait a minute.
Why did you roll like that?
5.
God!
It doesn't. Doesn't seem to specifically mean anything. Yeah.
I mean, if the dialogue was pretty simple, it could be under some kind of a charm, I suppose.
I had an instinct that he was manipulated by something, so that's the only reason why I was wary of it. And the fact that he was just so random and just saying the same exact thing. I get that can happen with injuries, but this was off-putting.
I mean, we've seen
Odd.
pretty strange things. I guess, yes, you had a right to be wary. It sounds kind of odd.
And in the middle of the night, I agreed with Graven that it probably wasn't safe for us to risk it.
Well, let's,
Do I know what slithering trackers are, like, specifically?
You saw that.
I know I heard that, but I wouldn't know, like, what they do.
Not
what they
familiar
are.
with those. No.
Cool.
let's finish up our morning here and get on our horses and see what we can make of it.
Has anyone heard of slithering trackers by any chance?
Graven, give me a.
Another history check?
No,
Can you
for that,
roll-
give me a survival
A
check.
roll like a real roll.
13.
13. You are familiar with them. They are sort of a residual. They're classified as an ooze. I mean, it's like a sentient kind of ooze. This does not seem to indicate any signs that was the creature. They do not have the ability to manipulate other creatures, in that way at all.
I can't remember if I mentioned this, but Gerver, one of the Gentle Void mercenaries we fought, had a parchment on him that said, "Slithering trackers back around the Honey Coast. Fire is effective." We're not near the Honey Coast specifically. It's probably a half day's, 3/4 days journey away, but
Okay.
They typically live near the ocean
Well,
as well,
what
along
do we
coasts.
say? He didn't seem like too terrible of a threat. I mean, he could have been trying to lead us into a trap, I
Yes,
suppose.
that's exactly.
But we could try to walk by, keep our distance from the camp. If
Be
we see
very
anything
careful,
odd,
yes.
then, because we have to go by that way anyway, don't we?
Yes, and Erland found tracks in the mud last night, so.
So we're walking.
Well,
yeah.
Follow them carefully, certainly.
One other thing. Do you know of any spells or any sort of magic that would make someone feel something is burning when it's not?
Oh, odd.
In what way?
What do you mean?
He asked for water, and Graven gave him some, and when he drank it, he said it was very hot, and it wasn't.
Would that ring a bell to me in any way?
Yeah.
No.
Not from any scholarly textbooks about historical creatures.
No.
I mean, that seems to be. I mean, obviously that's a symptom of something. What it's a symptom of, I have no idea.
I'm still
It's
not
like
sure
either-
he's not some kind of undead.
Magical
might be.
illness or
That's
something?
what I thought.
Well, we're not
Could
going
be.
to find out unless we
Head
Go
north.
and investigate it.
head
Right.
toward Navikapura.
The garrison for now, but yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So you guys to find your camp, you're sort of traveling along the road, and you took a perpendicular path off and made camp. The footsteps don't go directly back to the road; they kind of follow, not on the road, but still north. Are you guys looking to follow the footsteps, or are you going back to the path?
We'd have to kind of lead the horses on foot, probably, because of the...
It's not that bad terrain. You could move slowly. You can move like on horseback if you want to. It's not as easy as a ride, but it's doable. The other problem is it's a little harder to follow the footsteps from up on horseback, but.
Is it worth it to go see it, or should we just continue on our way?
I mean, it
I
is
am
on our
curious.
ways, and I am curious. It's not like we have to go out of our way by that far to see it. So
I suppose, yes. If it's
Okay.
a trap, we can always run away, and I'm
I mean-
starting to think it is indeed a trap.
it seems like it
That's
might be, but
my
we can
instinct,
certainly
but-
keep our distance, and see.
Okay, sure.
We all eating rations as well, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's find out.
Look at you.
Oh, do we have any plant food?
Oh yeah.
No.
You.
Did you ask Orba? I don't mean.
I can't remember if we all were there when he was giving them out.
I have...
There was like a
meals.
communal bowl.
There was
so
a
I-
communal bowl, but we
4
didn't
days
all
worth of
get.
bread.
No, I think on the
12
Orba
meals.
grappling.
I have 9. That makes sense.
That makes... Yeah. You gave
So.
at least...
Did everybody do their long rest things? We've all
Yes.
done
Yeah, I
that.
need 8.
Oh, well, I
Dabbling in the tortoise for the first time.
Woo! I got
Yes,
it.
I'm very
I have
excited.
9. You have 12.
So wait, this long rest. Do I get?
12
I get.
Get half your hit dice
4
back.
days
Okay,
worth.
okay, so now I'm back to 4 hit dice. Okay.
I have 8. That's not a solid number for days.
Might have skipped one.
Whatever.
Alright, just
I'll find something.
We also ate at camps and stuff, so we didn't always use
Yeah,
our
it's a
rations.
little
Right.
uneven. People hunted for
But I,
food
I
and
know
stuff.
like a quantity of 3 left. I have like off.
That's what.
We'll figure
Yeah,
it
that's
out.
because we like.
Yeah,
We're not
because
that
we
strict
ate
about
at
it.
camps and stuff.
Yeah.
Worst
She
comes
just
to
is
worst.
made uncomfortable how it's
Oh,
not
you just
divisible
don't
by
like
3.
it.
Yeah, unless I don't have a solid.
There you go.
Like a one
That
day.
Dodd was like, here's 1 day's worth of mushrooms,
Right.
not 2 rations worth
Right.
of mushrooms.
Now I'm gonna have to go without lunch one day. Oh my god.
Chara
Leopold's
muttering to
yeah.
herself down the
I
path.
can't be
Or just
angry.
stuff your face
Yeah.
so you know.
Right.
I guess having seen the footprints in the night, I'll sort of
Sure.
lead the way.
Who's
carefully
going
the
with
horse.
Erland kind of in the front there? Graven, you going with him? Both of you give me survival checks as you track the footprints.
Oh, they're kind.
Sure.
15.
15.
Oh.
You guys move along, and again, because of the mud now drying a little bit in the morning sun, they've made a decent imprint. You see footsteps, one after the other, and they're close together, which matches up with the sort of very slow, meandering pace that he had. Another footstep, another footstep. And it goes on for quite a while. Again, and it doesn't quite yet curve off toward the main road. It stays kind of perpendicular to it.
And we would presume if there was
Parallel.
a wagon, in truth, that they would have to be on the main road.
You could pull it off a little bit.
But you wouldn't be able to, like, traverse this
That would be
hilly
very
terrain.
difficult,
Yeah, okay.
yes.
Do we
yeah.
see anything as we kind of look to the horizon?
Give me perception checks, both of you also. And again, this area is very open. I mean, there's trees spotted here and there, but you can see a good distance in the.
I'm gonna need your telescope. Nat 1.
6.
So you guys look out into the open sort of air, and you don't see anything, and you continue to follow the footsteps, and you look up at one point to see if you can track kind of where these footsteps might be leading to, and you look back down,
Oh, shit.
and the footsteps have stopped. You can look back, and the footsteps are still there. They didn't disappear, but it was foot, nothing.
At attention, everyone. Footsteps have stopped.
Alright, I'm gonna get... I've got my bow out because I'm just nervous.
It's very open here. You can see
Yeah.
all around you.
Can I don't want the horse directly on, like, where the footsteps are. So can I lead it kind of a little bit?
Yes.
Like, back, actually. I want to lead
Sure.
it back a little bit.
You got a trick pony? You can go back.
Yeah, I guess.
Did anyone get this guy's name?
Alpin.
Ooh.
Who needs notes?
Notes needed.
Okay, I'm gonna kind
What
of...
was his last name?
Also with an A.
Oh, Alpine.
Yeah.
Hey.
It's a bit longer.
I
Yes.
can see it.
Okay, how do you feel if I call out to him?
No, badly. Extremely poorly.
I just
No.
mean... Okay.
If this is a trap, we don't want
I
to.
say we go back to the road and we keep going north.
Yes, if there's nothing here, then just leave it as is.
Alright.
If I hop off my horse? Can I? Yeah, I'm gonna hop off my horse.
Or not.
I thought you just said leave it!
I just, if this is some sort of trap, they could also be trapping the main road too. I'd rather know what we're dealing with.
So you're gonna get off and step into the trap? to
No,
find you-
I'm gonna just take a closer look.
Can I
Okay.
start ritually casting detect magic
You may.
in case this takes an hour?
That's what I wanted.
I just want to look at the footprints to see if there's any, if there seems to be like any trap, any physical trap, any.
Give me a investigation check.
11.
You do not see any traps at all. In addition to that, as you get down off your horse, you can see the footsteps a little better. And the footsteps, while even for a while, you see the whole footprint, the whole footprint, the whole footprint, and at the very end, you see just a toe print, as if they stepped and disappeared.
Goliath, or anyone native to the area, or beasts. We have some sort of creature that perhaps can fly or jump great distances. Does this mean anything to anyone?
Uh-oh.
You rolled already. You gotta put it together.
Wait, what? When did you roll?
I had him roll a history check
Yeah.
for it to possibly know the creature, but beyond that, you have to put the clues together.
I don't want John to guess.
In this world, vampires can turn into bats, yes?
Why, yes, they can.
Yes, they There's a good chance. I shouldn't say that. There is a chance that this young man was bitten and that some kind of a vampire spawn or vampire.
Oh,
Now
okay.
he gets
Well
it.
then, I definitely think we should clear out, right?
Yeah, Erland's gonna hop up on his horse.
I mean, the good thing is, and I can say this now that you've sort of got an inkling about it, it's daytime now, and
Yeah.
they can't come out in daytime, as far as you're aware.
Yeah.
Does someone bitten by a vampire become a vampire? What's the...
Yes, a vampire may have many spawn attracted to it or created by it.
If you die to a vampire bite, you can become a vampire. If you're bitten, you don't absolutely necessarily become one, but if you die to a vampire bite, you...
So then, should we warn people that there's a vampire in this area?
If we come across anybody, but
Or let them know Leopold's Garrison, perhaps.
see if it's been a problem of late, I would
particularly
imagine.
a nuisance? I know that seems like a strange question, but
Yes.
okay.
Vampires.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming if he appeared to you as a man and he didn't seem threatening, do you know what I mean?
I think the idea is that he had recently died to an attack.
Oh.
And would that explain his noggin as well?
I guess I haven't had many conversations with vampires, but
Like if
yes.
they're
or
recently
they
turned, is their conscience kind of shaken, I suppose?
He could have been disoriented from the wound.
Oh, he wasn't there
yeah.
yet.
But you also, again, vampires do have the ability to charm targets, to manipulate targets that they
I would like to submit the suggestion that we get to Leopold's Garrison as quickly as possible so that we can rest there tonight and not
Yes.
on the road again.
Yeah, that's
Good
certainly not.
idea.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree. Actually,
Hop on the horse and start leading the way again.
I drop detect magic.
Yeah, that wasn't 10 minutes. So
That's
you-
fine,
okay,
yeah, I'm just like, nah.
it's a vampire.
Not worth my time.
He flew away.
She's like, yep, it was a vampire. Yep, confirmed. I detected it.
But this one was real quick.
Well, detect magic. If you were looking at a vampire, it wouldn't tell you anything, right?
I can tell you, this is a vampire right
If
now.
someone was charmed, would they be glowing magically?
No, not necessarily, yeah. You turn back and reconnect with the road. Sort of veer off to the right, back on the main road. And with an early start, the sun is cracking through the clouds. It casts this kind of uneven light over the sprawling landscape unfolding in front of you. Harsh shadows and a distinct delineation between the road and the surrounding fields. They have an almost artificial quality to them, like asking someone to paint a portrait of the road leading back to civilization. The horses seem pleased that the ground has dried up enough to prevent the sticking of their hooves in the mud, and with swishing tails and gentle snorts, they trot forward with an easy briskness. At less than a day's travel from the hub that is Leopold's Garrison, you'd expect to start seeing additional traffic along the road, and it doesn't take more than a couple of hours for that to become a reality. Heading in the opposite direction are small groupings of travelers, some of them on horseback, some of them with carriages in tow, others just on foot. Most of them make no effort to do so much as even make eye contact with you as they pass, sort of practiced motions of people with jobs ferrying goods from place to place day to day. They don't stop and talk to every person they pass by. Occasionally you'll get a smile, a nod, a small wave. And you notice that, like back in Urinchupo where you dealt with them most directly, it's impossible to tell who's Gentle Void and who isn't if any of the people along the path are. One of their strengths continues to be their seamless integration, which you can imagine is why their record keeping is so important to them, lest there be frequent imposters that become impossible to root out. Another hour goes by, and you see the first person along the path that isn't in motion, not moving, either with or against the grain. And not only that, it doesn't seem like he's stopped for a rest or a meal, like you might see someone pull their carriage to the side of the road. He has his horse tied up at a nearby tree, and he's seated at an almost comically small table that looks like it might be made to sort of fold up and take with him, so it's easily transportable. Adding to the size discrepancy is the fact that the man looks to be a Goliath. Tattooed black lines running vertically all around his head from front to back, so that it almost looks like the appearance like his face is in a cage, like the tattoos have that kind of
cool.
vertical striping to them. He has a very stoic demeanor, almost perfectly still, except for at one point, sort of reaches up to scratch his neck. And on the table in front of them, you see several large jars that are filled with some kind of thick reddish goop. And there's a small sign on the table that says Mouther Dregs. 40 gold pieces per jar. Mouther Dregs. Graven, give me a history check, and Orba, give me an arcana check.
Oh, cool.
History's not great.
It's an at one.
It is. It was.
I'm confused about this conundrum.
It was, and then when I moved.
Do you want to just re-roll it?
I didn't know what that was winding up to.
It was 13, and then I was gonna be like, it's cocked, and when I touched it, it fell 3. It's fine.
Go ahead and roll your die one more time.
Wow. Can I
Oh
roll
my
that?
god. 1. Unnatural 1.
You two
You thought real hard and you popped a blood vessel as you were thinking about it.
Unnatural one?
Damn it.
Unnatural 1.
So, Orba, the name, sort of as you're racking your brain, it sounded familiar as something used in magic, but you can't quite place exactly what it's used for.
What was it called again?
Mouther.
Dregs.
M-O-U-T-H-E-R. Dregs.
Ew. Okay.
It's for drinking.
And as you get a little bit closer, you can see that mixed in with the reddish kind of thick residue are teeth and eyeballs of different sizes and colors.
It says dregs, so.
Right.
Whoa.
And you guys start to ride on by, and he sort of looks up at you as you're passing by, but he doesn't say anything, and remains sort of hands planted on his thighs, sort of sitting at this small table, and he continues to sit there.
What Mouth of Dregs, and what was there was a price?
40 gold per jar.
40 gold.
Can I?
Better be
Excuse
damn
me.
good dregs.
boy.
What are those?
Mouther Dregs from Scrutiny.
What's that mean exactly?
Yeah.
If you don't know what it is, you probably don't want it.
Well, it's a pretty high price, so maybe I do, and I just don't know it yet.
I hunt gibbering mouthers, and then I sell their remains to fund my continued hunt.
Do the remains do something? Sorry. Just curious.
Yeah. Mostly there's just two kinds of people who buy them. Apparently they have a lot of magical energy stored within them. So alchemists and wizards will buy them for fuel or experiments.
That's very interesting.
That's cool.
It's either that or people who just want to pretend that they've killed one. Keep it as a trophy.
That's
Imposters.
less interesting as an application.
Sure.
How many have you killed?
Hundreds.
Around here?
From scrutiny, as I said.
Sorry.
Where is scrutiny?
You can look on your Navigator map. If you had taken the Middleland sprint, scrutiny is a portion of that.
It's like day and a quarter west of us.
West.
And Graven's familiar with scrutiny. We actually messaged about this earlier. Scrutiny is, and just so I can say it out to the table, even though Graven's the only one truly familiar with it, it's a pass of that Middleland sprint there that's this very sort of barren, dangerous area of Antisuyu. And it's dangerous because it used to be a long time ago, mages used it as like an experiment ground. Like they would go there to use spells that they weren't supposed to use, and they left like, residues of things which would cause these sort of aberration-like creatures to pop up because they would leave the remains of their experiments here in this valley called Scrutiny. And some people, a lot of people just avoid traveling through there altogether, but also, and the reason Graven knows it, is it's kind of a proving ground for some hunters and Goliath. People go there and you travel through Scrutiny to say, like, I'm tough enough to travel through Scrutiny, so it has kind of a reputation about that.
Glad we didn't go that way.
I went to scrutiny and all I got was this shitty t-shirt.
Yes, all I got was this gibbering mouther.
Yeah, all I got was this jar of guts.
For 40 gold, too.
God, out of the merch table.
You travel Scrutiny on your own.
Yeah.
Well met. It's no easy task.
I don't do it for fun.
For money. Then what?
Make a persuasion check.
Come on.
14?
He looks at the rest of the group first, but then back to you, a fellow Goliath. A family member of mine was killed while we were passing through there by a gibbering mouther. If you know anything about them, you know that gibbering mouthers liquefy and absorb their victims. So there was no body to collect. I'm going to find the mouther that has the teeth and eyes of my friend, and I'm going to rip them out and give him a proper burial. I'll keep going back until I find him.
Good luck to you.
Thanks.
How long ago was that?
2 years.
Wow.
Sorry about your friend.
Goliaths hold grudges. Most of them, anyway. I won't speak for your friend here.
Do you get any buyers?
As I said, sometimes. They're worth enough that I don't have to sell a lot to make a profit.
Right, 40 gold.
I used to sell at Leopold's Garrison. It was a better spot. But I'm not welcome there anymore.
Why's that? Sorry.
I got in a fight. And there was already a fight going on. So it turned into a bit of a mess.
see.
I don't like it when people insult what I'm doing.
That's fair.
I don't like that either.
So now I sell on the road.
Well, you know, I'm actually traveling to meet a family member of mine that's actually a wizard, and it's possible they might find something like this very interesting. So 40 gold, that's what you got?
Is your friend Salus? Do you say anything or shake your head? Sorry.
Do that.
You do that. Yeah, 40 gold.
Who's Salus?
He's a wizard. Lives in Navikapura.
Is he a friend of yours?
No,
An enemy?
no, never met him. But he would send an assistant down to buy jars from me.
Oh.
Haven't seen him in a while, so I thought it might be you.
Oh, no, who's his assistant?
I don't know. He would buy the Mouther dregs, and then he would go.
How many would he buy?
Whatever I had at the time.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Well, I can't afford all of them.
Must be useful though. You know, he's a fairly, I don't know, famous wizard.
I don't know. I don't know famous wizards. I only know this one.
Okay, maybe not, but you know.
Do you know what he does?
No.
I'll take one.
Alright. And he sort of puts a big hand on it and slides it across
How
the
big
table.
is this puppy?
I mean, it's like a pickle jar.
Okay.
A medium-sized object, say.
Orba, do you
No,
have
a
enough
small
gold
one.
for it?
Yes,
Do
I do.
In his moving around and stuff, do I, on his ankles, wrists, do I see any kind of scarring or anything?
No.
This might be a silly question, but is this like contraband? Should I not, should I be sneaky owning something like this?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I've never gotten in trouble for it.
Oh, okay, so it must be fine.
He said he sold it near Leopold's Garrison. So
Yes,
I
well
guess
that's not really like...
Law enforcement, right?
Give me, now that he's, give me one more Arcana check now that he's mentioned that Celis and Wizards using it specifically.
Come on, baby.
Come on, baby.
11.
11. So you can't recall a lot of the sort of details. You remember hearing about it in your studies at some point. The main thing about it that you do remember is that it can because it has a lot of sort of arcane energy stored within it, it can be used in place of other material components of spells, but it has a chance of failing because the energy is sort of raw and untamed. So when you're using a spell that requires, a valuable component, you could use that in place, but it could explode in your face, literally. Like it's
Like
quite
really
volatile.
valuable?
Like
What?
a diamond?
Like, super valuable?
I'm gonna say with those rolls, you don't know.
Holding on to this goo, trying to like raise somebody from the dead.
just rub it all over your face.
Would I know if, depending on the difficulty of the spell, the odds decrease?
Not those rolls.
You guys need to get it together over there.
Listen,
No, that's wrong.
No,
I'm going to buy
not
another
those
one.
pair of dice.
I'll finance another one.
No, you don't have to finance another one. I just... people think I spend my money unwisely.
I'll give you 20 gold towards it.
No, I don't need your help.
Then why are you asking me?
Well, you said I can't eat all my plumba fruits at once. I thought you wouldn't want me spending 40 gold on the thing I don't know.
Can I hear them talking about this?
Are you guys trying to do it quietly?
No.
Sure. Then
Oh my
yeah,
God.
they're debating the
If
merits of
if you want
purchasing.
another one, I will chip in for one.
No,
I think that's not what she's asking.
I'll take another one, please.
Alright.
She'll get out her face.
Slides another jar
Another
across.
40. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
From your fights in the Garrison, is there anyone we should stay away from?
It's not like that. Every once in a while they would have fight night with the prisoners. The ones who wanted to participate. It's one of the few times that non-gentle void are allowed in that area to come watch the fights. I was there watching a fight, and I got in a fight. And now I'm not welcome back.
Those happen in the prisons, the fights.
They take them out of the cells, yeah, but around,
How often do they happen?
I don't know.
Can other people participate in the fight? Sign up?
I don't think it's like that.
It's not like, you win a pot at the end of it.
I think they compete for little perks, get something in your cell,
Right.
nicer bit of bedding or something.
Rather morbid spectator event, frankly.
So it's prisoner against prisoner, is that correct?
Yeah.
You wouldn't...
Seems have been.
Right. You wouldn't happen to know someone in the garrison named Joella, would you?
No. Does she work there?
No, I think she frequents there. We pass through a town on the way here. I think she comes in and gets supplies.
I know some of the people who work there, but
Apparently
not
frequent.
travelers.
Which prisoners were fighting when you were there watching?
I don't know their names.
Oh, they don't announce them?
No.
Do you remember who you got in a fight with?
No. Human man. Does that narrow it down for you?
No.
Oh, really? Did you win?
I got dragged out by a number of men. You call that a win?
Well, I guess you were the victor.
Sure.
You know people who work at the garrison?
I know the big names. Warden Sheriff, Sansa Doddle, Captain Autry, sure.
They're all there every day.
I think so, yeah. They work and live there.
Do you think there's going to be a fight night coming up?
I haven't been allowed back, so I don't know.
I didn't know if it was a regularly occurring thing.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Did you ever meet a man with the name of Fowler?
No. So you work there?
I think he used to, but not sure if he did anymore.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very much looking forward to delivering these to my friend.
Delivering them?
Yes,
Who?
I was buying them for a friend.
Sure. I hope they work.
Me too.
Are you headed south from here when you're finished?
Back to Scrutiny. And then back home. Wixa Mountains.
Where? In the Wixa Mountains.
Eastern side. My family is the Ilzardus.
Is that familiar to me?
No. Not necessarily because you've never heard of it, but
Right.
because you have no memory of it.
Do you know of the... Wow. Do you know of the Elvigos?
Aye? Yeah. I know the Ilvigo. We're not close, but we're both from the Wixa Mountains.
When's the last time that you saw them?
Probably seen one or two around. They were thought pretty highly of for a time. Understand they had a string of bad luck. Now they don't really live together anymore as a community.
They're still there in the Wixa Mountains.
Yeah, just not all living together.
Do you know their names?
Maybe I wasn't friends with anyone in particular.
Was their village not destroyed?
That's a bit of the bad luck I was talking about.
Where did they resettle?
They didn't, like I said. Different ones went to different places. Early on, one of their own went missing. Maybe died or something, I don't remember. Guess they had a hard time moving on from it. You got a problem with the Ilvigos?
May have met one.
Well, the Eel Crowdos from that area as well.
Huh? Yeah?
Are they still living there?
Yeah.
Do you know of any...
Again, I've met some, sure, in passing. Not good friends. Ilzardus mostly keep to themselves.
I'm not terribly familiar with the Wixa Mountains. Would you say, distance-wise, those tribes are close? Yours and the Ilvigos nearby?
Sure, if you're good in the mountains. Travel quickly by climbing. It's difficult for a regular person, but sure.
Good luck finding your friend.
Hi. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Take
Good
care.
luck.
You too.
What was your first name?
Cabral. Cabral. If you ever need more of that goop, you know where to find me.
Right here.
Hi.
All right.
Stay safe.
I'm just gonna have her horse nice and close to Graven's.
Sits back. So you have the 2 jars.
Yes.
And I mean, again, as you're sort of looking, you pick it up, and they're very viscous. It's like honey consistency almost. But as you turn it, you can see, and they're not like the same eyes or teeth. It looks like it absorbs several creatures, different eyes, different like some canine teeth, some flatter teeth, different kinds.
This is possibly the grossest thing I've ever seen.
Well, but hopefully it's quite.
Be careful with that.
Yeah, useful though,
I think so.
Can you fit both of those?
Yes, I think I have room in my saddlebags. Small, medium.
Small, yeah, each of them small.
Yes, I have room. So
Pick one.
Graven, did you not want to ask him anything else, or? I'm sorry if that's not I don't know.
I just don't know if anything I can learn right now will help us with what we need to do.
Well, perhaps after we, perhaps after we go to Navigapura and then go to Finlock Forest.
yes, we have quite a busy.
Perhaps then we can go to the Wixa Mountains. Or do you believe there's more to be found in the Wixa Mountains over Finlock Forest?
I doubt
Is
it.
it possible that maybe we should go to the Wixa Mountains before we go to
No. No.
No,
If anything,
Orba
it'll
has
just,
a heart attack.
Well,
if anything, it'll just draw more attention to us or me, and I'd rather not have that.
Okay.
at least he saw some people.
You didn't want to try to get the message?
He's just travelling between. I guess he's heading
No,
back.
he
home.
is going to head back
Yes,
home.
yes.
Do you
mean
think
you
for a
could?
moment?
I'm sure he'd be willing to carry a letter
My
for you.
sister is the only one who knows that I'm alive.
Well, maybe you
News
should
of me.
change that.
News.
Could it put his other family members at risk if they found out he was alive?
That's what I mean.
I don't know.
I'd rather keep them out of it until I can
Okay.
be
Well-
free of this whole thing.
At least you know now that there's some there. I don't know if that's reassuring or not, but
I think that's very exciting.
I think that's nice to know.
I'm sorry, Graven, but that's good news.
Yeah, I think
Maybe.
it is.
Okay. Let's keep going.
Okay.
Guys, right on. My music will change eventually, I'm sure. There we go. The afternoon brings more of what you become accustomed to on the Ackley Grove Road. A steady trickle of travelers, rolling hills, and a path void of environmental obstacles, which the party has come to find is one of those things you just don't quite appreciate until it's not there. The next time something catches your attention, it's not something that seems unusual visually, but a sensation that creeps up in Erland's nostrils.
Come on.
Something earthy and sweet. An unmistakable aroma that causes you to instinctively turn to the man who is just beginning to pass by you on horseback, headed in the opposite direction. So you guys were riding along, and he was coming in the opposite direction. He didn't look remarkable in any way whatsoever, but as soon as he started to pass by, you kind of caught your attention. Well, he didn't have any you know,
I know.
armor, or anything. Just a plain, born-looking dude.
Oh, he was born, but he smelled good.
He sits atop his horse, and he has a knapsack on his back, and some kind of map in his hand, or letter, looks like a map, you can see like drawings on it. And he's concentrating deeply on it, and he seems to be comparing it to his surroundings. Strands of his wavy blonde hair are pushed across his face from the breeze. And with a simple leather vest thrown over a dirt-smudged tunic, there's nothing about him that would have seemed unusual if it weren't for this scent that's taking you back to the Shocky Mountains and the Tackle Shack. More than once, he looks off the road to the east, straining to kind of see what might be beyond this closest set of hills. But he looks like he's growing frustrated. At one point, he moves his finger just below his right eye, and it's hard to tell whether to get the hair from his face sort of obstructing his vision, or if he wipes a tear from his cheek.
So the scent is that similar to which specifically the tackle?
Smelled very similar to when you were back at the Tackle Shack, and very similar to when you approached Josco's cabin.
It's the wreck.
Told you.
Shut
Say
up.
that.
When did I smell something in the tackle shack?
It's underneath the...
Quick, flip through your notes.
Yeah, jeez.
It was when you came out of the basement. It was when the creatures approached the Tackle Shack.
Oh, so it's
And
okay.
similar to the
Woodland
scent that you
creatures?
folled through Josco's
Not
thing
the
before you
woodland
jumped
so
in.
much.
Okay, so it's not the
big
it's the smell of like for example when we were in the Creeping Ravine and I found the sort of thing that I ate. I guess that was a hunger.
That's
I
not the
felt.
Creeping Ravine. Creeping Ravine was
No,
where
so,
you met.
yeah, not the Creeping Ravine.
Yes, the last sip.
In the last sip.
It kind of has an aroma about that, but it smells more familiar to those other two things.
Okay, and did I smell that? Maybe I didn't even ask this when we were there. Did I smell that when we were in the pens with the sort of the monsters that had been
You
subdued?
didn't get that close to them. They were kind of in the back of those cages, and there was a lot of other smells. It had a very sort of damp underground smell in general, perhaps faintly, but you're less confident about that because, again, there was a lot of smells and sensations in that particular area.
Okay, so if he's looking at the map, I'll sort of say, friend, are you,
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I in the way?
Sorry, no, you just seem lost, and we've been traveling, so perhaps we could be of use.
Oh.
I'll sort of like hold my hands up.
Sure.
There's no
He
weapons.
doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't
Okay.
look. I mean, perhaps. Do you know this? You know this area well? Do you?
We've been traveling through the Ackley Grove, and we have a rather detailed map of
We've
the sort
definitely
of.
consulted a map quite a bit. So.
And I'll sort of I won't hand it to him, but I'll show him
Sure.
the map of New Yapora.
He turns his map that he seems to have, and it's not the same map. It doesn't look like he purchased it from the Sobols, but it's not terribly dissimilar. It doesn't have the like trails on it, but it has kind of an overview of the north-south routes of this sort of eastern part of Antici.
And I had on that map sort of labeled the Ackley Grove thing
Sure.
as well.
Yeah. I'm looking for something that I feel like. It seems like something that someone who frequented this area might know, but if you're not from here, perhaps not. Thank you.
Oh, I have traveled this area pretty significantly.
Oh,
What are you looking for?
Are you Gentle Void? Are you?
Oh, you.
No.
Does that seem true?
Make an insight check.
9.
Yeah, it's a little hard to tell
Yeah.
through his sort of hysteria. I mean, he definitely looks sort of affected, but
We're not Gentle Void, just passing through Leopold's Garrison.
all right. I suppose there's no easy way to broach this topic. Are any of you frequent users of myconid products? And I don't care if you are. That's not. I'm looking for a place where someone who frequently uses these products might want to go to this place. So I'm looking for that.
Can I look at Orba? Just make eye contact with Orba?
Mm-hmm.
Could I perhaps have some privacy with this man? I'll catch up.
Okay. Do you need anything?
No.
Okay. Come on. She'll kind of like
Sure. Do you guys follow Orba?
get everybody hyped up for this.
Do you guys move a little further now?
I'm gonna kind of, as I'm walking away, I'm gonna kind of turn around and give him a.
We'll stay within eye shot.
What do you need?
No, it's not exactly like that. I'm looking for someone who uses these kinds of things, and I'm looking for someone else who also uses, who might be able to point me in that direction.
Tell me what you need.
Make a persuasion check.
He's looking for someone.
5.
Oh my.
Guys, the rolls.
It's really bad.
It's rather sensitive, so I just
Are you heading to Mukmu?
no.
Tuktu?
No. I'm frustrated because it should be around here somewhere. That's why I'm.
Does it seem like he is showing any early signs of any of these mutations, any of these experimentations?
Give me a perception check as you look him over.
19.
It definitely does not.
Is someone you know in trouble?
Perhaps, yes.
Now that I'm closer to him, can I assume I've come over to him.
Yeah, your
Yeah,
horses are next to each other.
Is it possible to tell if it's, I mean, I guess how specific is it? Is it possible to tell if it's like emanating from his backpack or emanating from himself, or too hard to tell?
Give me a perception check.
Ooh.
This is
And
the
I'm
big
not
one.
going to say it's going to be easy.
No.
No.
8. That's
it's
good enough.
It's hard to tell. It just his general. I mean, again, there's not much on him. There's no saddlebags. It's him, a backpack. He's got some like pockets. There's a little pouch on his belt, but it's hard to tell. I mean, there aren't that many places it could be coming from, but.
Is someone you know in danger?
Do you have a bit of time?
Yes.
My husband and I, we used to live in Oranchupa, and we were very happy. But everyone has their weaknesses. I should know. I have my fair share of weaknesses. But Roy's weakness was expensive and dangerous. It got bad, and we moved north to Navikapura, where it was less. I mean, at the time, it was more difficult to get a hold of it. He got a nice job for the Gentle Void. I'm not, but he works for them, just doing supply runs between Navikapura and Leopold's Garrison. And this was, of course, a temporary solution. I like to pretend in my mind that it was a permanent one. I like to pretend that if someone here in Navikapura offered it to him, that he would say no. But of course, that was never very likely to happen. I'm afraid I might have been refusing to see the signs. He's gone missing, and I'm looking for him.
Offered what specifically to him?
Just myconid products, different kinds. There's one that's called Microl. It's a fusion of myconid extract and carrion crawler mucus, which, if you know anything about it, is a poison that causes paralysis. So you have the sort of amplifying effects of the extract and the paralysis parts of the mucus, and you become this sort of hyper-aware sleeping, kind of. Like you can't move, but your brain is going faster than ever before.
So, Roy would use this recreationally, not for any sort of grab at power?
Yes.
Did you start using myconid products in Orange Chupa only when you came to Navikapura?
That's why we moved from Oranchuba.
Was access to...
Yes, it was easy to get there. Now you can get it here, but it wasn't as easy at the time.
This was 2 years ago, you said?
No, it was longer than that. It was 8 years, perhaps. I tried asking his friends and co-workers, but nothing. No one had seen him. And I dug a little deeper. I went to some people that I was told distributed products, not Microl specifically, but any kind of products. But still nothing. And at this point I'd been all over. I thought my search was coming to an end. But a man came to see me at my house. Not someone I knew, and he had sort of a bit of madness about him. Could have just been he was an odd man. He said that he knew where I could find Roy, though he couldn't promise me that he'd been alive, which of course sent me into a panic. How do you respond to something like that? The man said there was a spot south of Leopold's Garrison where one could privately enjoy the wonders of Microl. Someone at the Gentle Void at Leopold's had a way of getting his hands on it, but they couldn't use it there. I guess the higher-ups didn't approve of people using it because of what it did to them. I don't know. I learned that there's some sort of abandoned house or something around here. They would take little day trips to this house. This man that I spoke with said he was there at this house with Roy. And someone showed up in the night. Someone they thought that they knew, I suppose. He seemed to think that he sort of recognized him. An old friend of theirs from the Gentle Void who took a post elsewhere that offered better pay. But there was something wrong with him. He was disfigured. He had enormous hands, and there was a deep gash across his abdomen. He started to attack the men there, and most of them were helpless to defend themselves because of the Microl. They were just sort of beaten to death, I suppose.
Oh.
And at this point, I told the man to stop his tale. The ravings of a madman, surely. But he continued. He said that he was able to escape because he regained feeling in his arm enough to grab a knife. And he reaches into his backpack. He takes out what looks like a little rag. And it has like a dark sort of stain around it. And he unwraps it a little bit. And inside is an enormous finger. Ooh. Over a foot long.
A foot?
Like an oversized, and it's severed down kind of below the second knuckle. And he sort of unwraps it. And even as he does, you can see he sort of recoils from it. Hard not to believe it after he gave me this.
What did this man look like? The one who claimed to cut off the finger?
Human, short. He had very thin hair, I remember that. You could see down to his scalp. Round face.
What he's describing doesn't seem like... I guess it's pretty vague. The guy that stabbed me, I only got to look at the back of his head, right?
Yeah, and yeah. The description doesn't immediately ring a bell to anything.
And this man said that he was using Microl at this cabin?
Yes.
And you hadn't seen this man before?
No. He said that he worked with my husband at Leopold's, which could very well be true. I don't know everyone that my husband works with.
Alright, what are you... So what are you planning on doing? Are you planning on going to this abandoned hut to fight this creature if it's still there?
No, I certainly don't plan to fight it. I just... It's not knowing, you know?
What are you taking with you in your backpack?
Not a lot, just traveling supplies, and I have a small sword.
Have you ever used MacLeod products yourself?
No.
Does that seem true to me?
Give me an insight.
11.
It does, or he's certainly, the response is sure-handed enough that he certainly doesn't seem to think that he is that he's either not used it in a very long time, or that if he ever used it, it was like a lot of people use MacLeod products in very small moderation.
Yeah.
He certainly doesn't seem to think that he takes MacLeod extract in the way that some people take MacLeod extract.
Where's this cabin? Is it on the map that you have there?
Yes, he takes it out, and there's a little X on the map that's basically where you guys are. So he points to it.
Shit. Sorry, bruh.
Again, I didn't think it would be easy to find from the map. I was hoping that I might run into someone who could tell me where it was.
MacLeod use in Navigaporis common?
More common now than it was.
Has there been, is this the first you've heard of any sort of mutated beasts attacking MacLeod addicts?
I thought he was lying when he told me.
Alright. Can you wait here 1 second? I'm gonna get my friends. We're gonna try and help you, alright?
You don't have to do that. I wouldn't want to put you in danger.
Well, hopefully this thing is gone.
That is what I'm hoping, yes.
In which case we won't be in danger. And if it's not, then you're riding to your death, so...
Well...
I'm hoping to scout it from a distance during the day. I do have a spyglass as well.
What's your name?
My name is Leto.
Leto?
Yeah.
And what do you do, Leto? In Navigaporis?
I work for one of the local blacksmiths.
Not to be too mercenary about this, but if we were to be able to help you find this cabin, perhaps protect you if need be, would you be able to provide discounts perhaps at this blacksmith's?
Maybe. I can't say for sure.
Well, if I can't get a discount at the blacksmith. Family friends do. What do we say?
Again, I don't plan to go in unless I've scouted it for some time. Perhaps we could strike a different kind of arrangement. You're headed to Navigaporis.
Yes.
How long are you staying there?
Unsure. I suppose I should say negotiable.
Perhaps you could just check on my house in a couple of days and make sure I've returned home. And if I haven't, perhaps tell my neighbors.
Where's your house?
I live in Villisvet, which is in... sorry, no, he doesn't live in Villisvet. I lied. Well, back up. We live in Navika Middle West. There's a house in Uthal behind the church, near the river.
Can I look at... If I look at his map, does it seem like... Is he misreading it, or is there, like, any sort of indications that, like...
No, in what way? I mean, no, you seem to be in the spot that the X is located on.
Did this man say anything to you about access to this... Did the man give you this map, sorry?
He did, yes. Well, no, it was my map. He marked the X on it.
Alright. And he told you to come looking today? Or did he give you...
He didn't give me a day, no.
He just said, look there?
Yes.
And the man seemed crazed at the moment you spoke to him, yes?
He just sort of seemed, I don't know, unsettled. But I suppose if you'd seen what he'd seen, you would be.
All right. Wait here for just a moment. Let me get my friends. It's actually potentially important to me that we accompany you and try and find this hut.
All right.
Let me at least try and convince my friends. No guarantees.
All right.
Alright, I'll meet you back here in a matter of moments.
So Erland's gonna turn and gallop. Right. I assume, did you guys stop at some point? Or you were still riding?
I mean, I was gonna say we'll stay within an eye shot. So if we saw that he was like still, then
I mean,
kind
a couple
2
hundred feet
miles
down the road.
down the road.
Yeah. You're at Leopold's Garrison. Welcome to Leopold's
I
Garrison.
thought he was coming.
Alright, goodness, where to start? One of the Type 2 beasts?
Type B.
Type B beasts, excuse me. One of the Type B beasts from, goodness, everywhere. Seems to have turned up here.
I've got my whistle still.
I do as well, yes.
What about the whistles?
That man believes there was some sort of recreational myconid hut. There's a product called MyCrawl, which is a combination of a poison and what was the poison again? Sorry, man.
Carrion crawler mucus.
I'll relay that. Carrion crawler mucus.
And Safira and Graven have both heard of that. It's used as a poison mostly.
And
it's used in medical sometimes too, if you needed to keep someone still while you were like operating on them, basically.
So MyCrawl's become quite popular, at least in these parts. Sort of recreational myconid use. Anyways, that man's husband was at some sort of den where people do that, and it's supposedly in this area, but this den was attacked by one of these Type B subjects, and as far as correct me if I'm wrong on this, as far as I know, that requires that someone from that camp experimented on someone. That doesn't just happen naturally. That requires some sort of...
Well, you need to be exposed to the proper spores.
Exactly.
Okay, so...
From which camp? From...
The camp.
The
from
harvesting
camp.
yard.
So...
Well, you need to be... Yes, I mean, I suppose...
You could have been at one of the pockets. We don't know. I don't know if they were administering spores at any of them. No, because they were just doing side effects at the pockets. And then if you had the right ones, that's when they took you to the camp to
Exactly.
do.
As far as
Yes.
you are aware, the only place they were applying spores was at the Chalky Mountains harvesting yard.
Okay.
Right, but it's you display symptoms, and then they would have to conduct some sort of specific experiment on
Yes,
you that
with
would
the
create,
spores.
that would
Yes.
turn you into
So one of them...
either escaped or it's not just happening at the camp.
This
that
is
we
pretty
thought.
far to get.
Exactly.
We did help one escape. Now that I think of it, we didn't kill one.
Yeah, we did.
Got away at that.
So this
Weird
this
river.
man...
It's not. No. The specific description was he showed me a finger that's a foot long.
What did it?
It did not.
Okay.
That one did not have like sort of enormous oversized hands.
So...
Wow. And what happened when it attacked the den?
It seems like it may have killed his husband and other people that were, basking in the glory of myconid extract or whatever.
I see.
That's
The point
quite
is,
horrible. But hang on, so he's trying to find it because...
he's trying to find his husband. He's worried his husband is dead.
Okay. And he's not a distributor in any way, is he?
He seems to just be a concerned relative. He lives in Navikapura.
And the beast is dead or alive,
Not sure,
but missing a finger.
but missing a finger. A crazed sort of man told him about this. Seems to have perhaps indicated a slightly wrong area because the den is supposed to be right here. Look, I understand that it's important that we get to Leopold's Garrison, but also
Before night.
before nightfall. We're quite close at this point. But, I mean, this seems important, does it not?
You'd like to look for
I
this.
I'd like to look for this
Yes,
den
and
and
I
find
can-
some sort of... see what... If we're dealing with another pocket, if we're dealing with more experiments heading into Navikapura, we should know that, should we not?
No, we definitely should.
Well, at the very least, I wouldn't mind testing out the whistles and seeing if there's. This will be our first time really interacting with one.
Well, we may not...
We could perhaps
interact
control it.
Proper equipment.
Ask
Yeah.
it questions, perhaps.
Well, we could certainly, if we find any, of these people who are, myconid addicts, we could certainly ask them questions. And I can tell you I'd be interested in asking them where their suppliers are, just,
Yes, I mean, but... Safira, myconid extract is going to be common in a lot of towns.
No, I'm trying to figure out the chain, who's distributing it, where it's...
So regardless, we can hopefully find something about... Certainly Leopold's Garrison, but Navikapura, probably.
Okay, well, this sounds pretty important to you, so let's...
I would say also important to the group. We're heading to Navikapura.
I can say definitely important to me.
Alright, then we're wasting daylight. We should...
Alright,
if we
let's
want to look for this place, we do it now.
I told
We'll give it
him
a few
I'd be
hours.
coming back with you. Let's hopefully try and find this place quickly.
Okay.
It's probably noonish by this time.
I fast forwarded a little bit. It's later in the afternoon at this point.
How can we see Leopold's Garrison? Are we
No,
really
you are
close,
not.
or-
You're not that close.
Okay.
You're still a few hours
see
away,
the
at least.
flag.
Yeah,
Okay,
like,
cool.
like multiple, like
All right.
4 hours.
Gonna
or so.
turn the horse and ride quickly back to
He
the
sees
guy.
the group kind of moving back a little bit. Yes.
We will help you try and find this cabin and hopefully protect you if this creature's still there.
Do any of you know how to find it? While I appreciate the offer, as I said before,
No, but look...
I could be here for hours, I could be here for days. I've already been here for hours looking for it.
We've come on the path from the south. You came on the path from the north, yes?
Yes.
Then we should split off from the path maybe in at least 1 or 2 groups and go east and west and see what we can find. Because there was no shack on the way here.
Look, all of our heads together will be better than, just one. I'm a tracker, so, we should be able to find something, hopefully.
I suppose. You have that much time that you would stop for this.
We'd like to get back by nightfall, but...
You're welcome to help me look, but... I'm just afraid I'll waste your time. I've been here and I just don't know... I don't know where to look.
What specifically sort of cabin did they say it was?
Just an abandoned house, a dwelling that someone used to live in, that they now no longer do.
Have you asked anyone else along the way?
Yes.
And?
Nothing. It's a difficult question to ask, and even if I thought someone might know, they might not want to tell me.
Am I overwhelmed by the smell coming from in front of me?
I mean, it seemed like it was coming from the finger
yeah.
when he pulled that out. Yeah.
If I sort of turn my horse, I'm looking off into the distance, if I sort of get my, maybe, let's say, 20 feet away from him,
Let's say.
do I smell anything else?
No, it's not that
Like on the wind?
strong. I mean, again, like when you were at Josco's cabin,
Yeah.
you didn't smell it until you got inside the
Right.
cabin. It doesn't seem to.
I
It
just-
doesn't seem to be like a scent trail that you can follow. In
If
that,
I hold
in
R2,
that.
I'm not going to be able to...
Yes, the little light lights up in you.
While Erland goes over there, to step away from the thing that stinks, can Orba lean over to Graven and just... I'm not so sure if this man actually wants our help. Should we just provide him with one of our whistles? I don't know if the goal is to just keep this person safe or to have some kind of a self-gain in any of this. I don't know if they want our help.
How long ago was this attack?
Less than 2 weeks, I'm told.
Look, why don't we have a look around the area, at least?
You want to ask a bird?
I can.
That's a good idea.
Actually,
That's
yeah.
I'm not there, sorry.
He
Yeah.
turns to Erland to speak for a moment.
I'll come back.
Perhaps this place is of interest to you?
It is.
And you're headed to Leopold's first, and then Navikapura.
Spend the night in Leopold, yes.
What about this? What if I continue my search here, and if I find it, I won't go in. I'll ride quickly to Leopold's, and I'll find you there. And if you're still interested, you can come back.
Alright, where should I meet you? I don't know Leopold's well.
There's a civilian area, lodgings there. You tell me.
What's the lodgings? I don't know the area. Pick a lodgings.
There's just simply it's called Leopold's Lodging.
Oh, Leopold's lodgings.
Yes.
Alright. Pick a lodging.
You can't miss it. It's the first thing on the right when you come in. I'll take a look, and if I don't see any movement that would indicate that Roy's still alive, then I'll ride immediately back.
Does that seem like he's going to follow that plan? Does that seem
Such a
So untrust.
17.
17. I mean, he's processing a lot. He's sort of a little overwhelmed by the... You can tell he's spent a lot of time out here sort of asking people and everyone being like, no, no, no. And he's a little overwhelmed by the sort of proposition as he's piecing it together. But he does seem a little sort of... Not calmed, but appreciative to the offer. And because of that, does seem genuine in his, like... If you're willing to possibly help him, he's willing to sort of track you down and do that first.
Erland, you still have a whistle?
I was just thinking that.
I'm going to pull out my whistle.
I'm going to give this to you, and you're going to give this back to me when you meet me at Leopold's lodgings later. If you see the mutant creature, alright? You blow this whistle, and it will distract the creature long enough for you to ride away. You are not to ask me why I know this.
If it notices you, I wouldn't just blow it if it doesn't notice you.
If it attacks you, blow this whistle, it'll give you a moment to get away.
At the risk of angering you, why do you know this?
What did I just say?
I know what you just said.
I'm going to help you, and hopefully, perhaps save your life, and if we're very, very lucky, find Roy and save his life.
Is this creature yours?
No. I swear
Make
to
a
you.
persuasion check.
Ooh, yikes. Oh boy.
That is ultra cocked.
Yeah, that's not good.
Persuasion?
Yep.
10.
It doesn't say anything.
It's still attached to the chain that I have.
Yeah, part of it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna sort of
Yeah.
say,
I stole this whistle to protect myself against a creature when it attacked me. You can see the broken chain.
I know you don't know me too, but I can vouch for him. He is telling the truth. I was there.
let me give it to him.
We
He
would
sort of
rather
holds it in his hand, he sort of turns it over, inspects it kind of back and forth.
We would rather you made it back to Leopold's Garrison. That is why we give that to you.
Don't blow it until it attacks.
Yes.
Yeah, it will notice you.
It will
and
notice you.
You don't want it to notice you. They're very powerful creatures and not friendly at all.
I will tell you this much. We have fought creatures like this in the south. We stumbled upon them, were bounty hunters, and these whistles worked.
And it's a right lucky thing they did too, so...
Alright. Thank you.
Right, Leto, hopefully we'll see you this evening.
Yes. I'll keep looking. Thank you.
Good luck.
Takes the whistle and he's kind of again now that he like feels like he doesn't have all the eyes on him, he's like looking it over, sort of trying to see if he can see where it came from or if he recognizes any part of it at all. You can see a little skepticism in his face. I mean, for most people, when you blow a whistle, it gets something's attention, not, you know, turns something's attention away. So you can see the sort of apprehension in him as he's
You better listen to us.
He's returned to a little group. He's ridden just a couple steps down now.
Onwards to Leopold's then?
Yep.
Yeah.
Guess so.
I imagine anyone...
We're out of earshot.
Yeah, that idiot.
I imagine anyone, especially under the influence of whatever drugs they were taking, would not survive an encounter with one of those things.
No. I mean, I...
What did you hope to find there, Erland?
There's some information about why this creature is this far north. Who this man was that I don't buy for a second that this crazed older man that told Leto that this creature attacked pulled himself out of a myconid stupor.
Adrenaline can be quite strong. I don't know.
I suppose.
No,
All of this is far too suspicious to not warrant some sort of investigation, especially since we intend on spending some time in Navi Kapura. I don't want us to be blindsided by some other pocket or camp. And if this creature got away like they did outside of the Mukmuk camp, there's an opportunity to perhaps learn something about the creature, learn something about it before we get blindsided by it by walking into the belly of the beast. I don't know much about Vikapura at all. It seems like the camp that we scouted had nothing to do with it, but if this is spreading, then that's something we should know.
I tend to agree.
They also could have started selling the type bees.
You mean as pets, like as weapons?
Was that in the diary at all?
Well, I mean...
No, I believe I overheard a conversation just saying that they weren't open to the idea quite yet.
Well, it's possible that the type bees weren't well trained enough yet. They couldn't figure out how to control them yet. But maybe they have now, and maybe they are selling them as weapons. Personal protection, I mean, you know.
I mean, we destroyed the good part of it. They probably are looking to make some money so they can repair it.
Well, I just hope that no one finds him with the mutant whistle and traces it back to us.
Well, it seems...
You gave it to him, so...
That's
I could go
the risk
take
you
it
took.
back now.
How would they trace it to us?
It would be...
Did you initial it?
He's like, I wrote Erland's on it. Return to Erland if you find it.
My mom put scotch tape around it with my name. I don't know, I'm inclined to think that we can find something out, hopefully, and for once be ahead of the curve before we enter a town.
I guess we can
For the
try.
high
It's worth a
expectations.
shot. I mean, it is worth a shot.
And if we don't hear from him, then we always just ride through Leopold's Garrison on the way to Vikapura. We're only spending one night in Leopold's, right? We're not planning on spending more time here.
No, I mean, not unless something bad happens,
Oh,
right?
I hope not.
It's okay, Orba.
And with the group thinking, riding a little bit further north towards Leopold's Garrison, that's where we're going to take a break. There's much to think about. A few sort of tidbits of the north now coming into play. Seeing Goliaths and it not being super unusual for the first time. I mean, that certainly, Graven is aware of
Getting
that,
into
like,
the north, yeah.
in the north, now far less unusual for a Goliath to sort of be seen.
We didn't cast hold person or murder it.
Oh, come on.
I thought for sure you're gonna cast whole person on that guy.
know!
That vampire.
There's like
guy.
carriages coming by in the opposite direction. Oh,
No,
the
the
vampire.
vampire,
Oh, I thought
the
you meant the...
Oh.
No, I thought you were gonna cast whole person on that vampire for sure.
It wouldn't have been much different from what happened if I just stood there anyway.
Right, he didn't really do much.
He's like,
Yeah.
awesome. We're going to come back after a little break. Once again, there's a little recap part of the way through the BRB that goes over some of the major events from last episode. If you're catching up, we'll take a little break and we'll come back on the other side.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Thank you guys so
See you
much.
later.
We'll see you later.
I forgot to say,
No, I just surprised me.
I just wanted to announce some people. FNF resub for 8 months. Thank you so much. Banished Roper did 400 bits, and Scala resub for 10 months as well. If I missed somebody, I apologize. That's what I caught. So thank you all so much. That's very kind.
Thank you.
Appreciate it greatly.
And we'll see what happens on the other side.
Yes.
See you there.
Chapter 63, Catching Thugs and Beating Rugs, our friends begin exiting Hacketon after Safira's invitation to the Halflings for assistance goes ignored.
I just hope someday I can come back here or somewhere and help them.
You do a lot more than you think.
Thank you.
Someone once told me we have to pick our opportunities and pick our battles and be patient. So, sometimes we gotta be patient.
You're right.
Patience quickly pays off when a sneaky halfling tosses a note in Beezaura's direction before she leaves.
You really want to help? One of the guards named Joella is in charge of getting resources from Leopold's garrison. But the last time she was sent on a supply run, she claimed she was robbed by bandits and came back with less than half of what she was supposed to. If you're passing through Leopold's garrison, make sure Joella isn't lingering there, blowing the stipend for food and supplies.
Our friends plan to find Joella discreetly at Leopold's garrison.
I thought that we were trying to get through this settlement as quickly as possible for the little ones.
No, we are, but obviously if she's hanging out...
And then, we'd beat her up a little bit or something.
Yes.
But before Leopold's garrison, our friends pass by a small Broken Crown checkpoint, only to find it manned by a familiar face.
Amari!
Do I know you?
We were the ones who rescued you from the creeping ravine.
Hearing tales of his rescue from his brother Ravi during his recovery, Amari quickly warms up to his saviors from weeks ago. Chapter 12, if anyone is interested.
There's only 3 of us assigned to this post, and between you and me, it's mostly just for the optics of having a presence near Leopold's garrison. It's a do-nothing post for lazy soldiers and debilitated men like me.
Amari wishes to enlist our friends for an internal investigation of his 2 bunkmates, a task he can't manage in his current physical state.
But I think they might be collecting an extra paycheck from the Gentle Void. I've noticed that every time a wealthy-looking traveler, or a carriage that might have valuable goods comes through, Emerson jots down a little note, and he hurries upstairs to put it in his room. The other one, Brian, came out of the basement once and handed a small package to some riders that definitely didn't wear the colors of the Broken Crown.
In exchange, Amari will give our friends a Broken Crown writ, which could help them in a sticky situation, or 2 or 12.
A couple of you climbed through the 2nd-story window into Emerson's room, while the others dipped down into the basement.
Amari sends Emerson away so Safira and Erland can hop through his bedroom window and snoop around for his notebook and any other suspicious items, like puzzles.
First match the reincarnated spirits of Woltukanen to their animal. Then, alternating sunwise and widdershins, which for those of you who don't know is clockwise and counterclockwise before clocks. Turn the end cap's arrow to each spirit, moving from oldest, first reincarnation, to newest.
Looks like we have to put these tiles with the spirits that they belong to.
Widdershins to Grav Bito.
Bilo.
Grav Bilo.
And as the last one clicks, you feel a loosening.
Safira and Erland successfully find Emerson's notes identifying wealthy travelers whose carriages he has marked with a special kind of chalk. Meanwhile, in the basement...
Well, the rug is really dusty. It doesn't seem like it's been moved, but perhaps there's false floor under here? I don't know.
Should we try to move the furniture and see if we can put it back exactly where we found
Yes,
it? But
I need all of you to roll initiative. As a rug of smothering bursts into action,
my.
you are grappled, restrained, blinded, and at the risk of suffocating if you're not able to get yourself out of it. As it
Orba's doing math in her head at how many times Graven's healed himself in this rug, and she just, in desperation, puts her masks on and just throws
throws a wild ray of frost.
Near death, Graven, Beezaura, and Orba defeat the rug and find Brian's incriminating evidence. Everyone reports back to Amari.
We found this note written in his hand.
It does seem to be notes about, possibly planning robberies.
I think he's trying to tell someone what's worth stealing and what's not.
Exactly, once it gets to Leopold's Garrison.
I'm going to send a letter to the Broken Crown with all the evidence I have and make my case that way.
Our friends say goodbye and good luck to Amari and head towards Leopold's Garrison, stopping for a long rest.
And that's where we're going to end for the evening.
Oh my goodness.
Can the wanted Beezaura go unnoticed at Leopold's Garrison? Has anyone else gained the curiosity of the Gentle Void? Will our friends show restraint with the freeloading Joella? Find out next time on Tabletop Notch.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for sticking with us through some hiccups. Hopefully it should be a little smoother now. We turned down the resolution.
Not the quality, though.
No. And once again, we will say, as we said this one time before, the recording should be untouched. I mean, that's on our end. So when we upload this to YouTube, if there was parts that were hard to follow because of some skipping and stuff, we apologize, but you can watch those later on YouTube. So once again, we continue to apologize, and we can do nothing but...
We're in a constant state of apology over here.
But we can do nothing but hope and plow through
Raise our fists
with aplomb.
in the sky.
And we return to the road, the Ackley Grove Road, heading north.
Oh, Jesus.
That's right.
You can hardly believe it.
What?
And if you didn't have the evidence in front of your eyes, you're not quite sure it would register in the same way. That after 2 days free of detours and significant interruption, you actually arrive somewhere faster than you thought you would. With a dim but not dark twilight sky behind it, the outline of Leopold's garrison is distinct. And the low exterior walls allow the roofs and swaying tops of tents to poke out from behind like a puppet show on the horizon. Judging by the way the traffic of horses and carts is divided up before you, it looks like there are several entrances. Although on the right-hand side, there's an increased presence of armed guards, and that combined with the enormous stone fortress springing up behind it that dwarfs the surrounding buildings, it gives you reason to think that that is the Gentle Void only area, and Beezaura recognizes the keep there beyond the walls. Beezaura pauses for a moment to take it all in. It hasn't been that long since you were here last, but so much has changed. It's like you're seeing it for the first time with new eyes. You remember sharing a drink with Mohan Fowler in his office, so carefree and convinced that you'd gotten beyond the reach of detection. It's a feeling that you cling to, hoping to recapture it someday, as now, not even in your most relaxing possible moments, there's always a need to watch your back. For any of the roads not leading up to the keep, there doesn't seem to be any kind of check-in or inspection process. You see carriages moving in beyond the walls without stopping, and though the flickering torches of sentries on horseback can be used to trace their movement back and forth in the fields leading up to the garrison, it seems to be for general security, not so much for any kind of detailed assessment of who comes and goes. You guys are here sort of at the crest of this hill that sort of dips down a little bit, and then the walls, Leopold's garrison. You guys see this here?
Get in, get to the lodgings, maybe ask a few subtle questions after. Joella.
Nice job. Yeah?
And then be gone.
Okay, sounds good to me. They don't seem to be, that they're not scrutinizing anything that, I don't know, thoroughly, so I suppose it looks like we can just walk in and walk out, hopefully. As long as, saying Joella's name doesn't rustle any feathers, but I don't think we have any reason to believe that it would.
Okay, let's go. I'm a little nervous, but...
I would be most worried about you, Beezaura, so maybe you can kind of I don't know, I'm worried about both you and Orba, but maybe we can kind of, I don't know, keep you close.
I'm not gonna try to make a spectacle of myself, don't worry.
Okay, well, shall we head in?
Okay.
Brian's forward. And the moment you pass beyond the sort of outer wall, a lively, borderline raucous atmosphere envelops you. Between those spending the night while passing through and others who have set up tents and booths for a prolonged stay to hawk their wares, it almost has the feel of a carnival or a fair, though perhaps lacking in exotic animals or lanes for jousting. Immediately as you're right as you enter, there's some of the largest buildings other than the keep, and based on some painted signs you see depicting a leg of lamb and a fluffy white bed, you imagine that these are the primary options for food and lodging. There is, however, another sign right beside these ones, less ceremoniously painted on a strip of cloth that hangs limp in the thoroughfare, and it reads, Brent's Tents. Good rates, great for dates. Though there isn't an obvious indication of where one would find Brent if they wish to inquire. There's an extensive row of stables on your left that look to not only be well accommodating, but also well guarded. There's men and women that are visibly armed, sometimes more than one to a stall. And you're not sure whether the provided muscle is gentle void or not, but you can imagine that it benefits their business at the Garrison to keep any kind of major theft to a minimum to encourage travelers to frequent this place. After the lodging and the stables, it's a little less organized. The streets, if you can call them that, are more determined by where certain carts and carriages have decided to park, and less by what makes for easy navigation. You spot an opening up ahead that looks to be a kind of large outdoor dining area. There's a number of long benches, crowds that have gathered among them, ales in hand. Another area has some smaller tables that are being used for what's likely gambling. You see a lot of dice rolling. Safira spots a certain marked set of cards that looks to be people playing Drop the Crown, an old favorite from the barracks of Ka'ira. At one point, you see a man angrily stand and sort of shout some obscenities at the rest of the people seated there, who proceed to laugh and mock him as he storms off. Beyond that, it's mostly people either minding their own business or doing decidedly the opposite. There's a particularly aggressive man trying to sell spare trousers to anyone who passes by. There's an elven woman with a rack of fresh fish, and a pair of dwarves that seem to be haggling over the price of a nicely crafted leather helmet. Come in, you see the atmosphere around you, it's quite lively, it's well lit here, there's a number of sort of torches and lanterns, I can't say anything today. Torches and lanterns that sort of light up the area in a way that it's very visible and, difficult to sort of obscure yourself heavily unless you made a serious effort to.
There's so much to do.
There's quite a bit more, people just in general than I was expecting.
It's very lively out here.
Okay, so yeah, if we were looking for a head in a crowd named Joella, I mean that's the only.
Well, I think the lodgings would probably be a good place to start. If just Joella needs to spend the night or is spending nights, then in a sort of
And apparently she's a bit of a frequenter at the tavern, so maybe we could pop by and get ourselves a meal. I don't know.
She could also be playing one of those games that looks pretty fun.
Do you want to play a game?
Yeah. Right now?
Maybe budget yourself a certain amount of coin that you're going to spend. So that it doesn't get out of hand.
What's normal?
Don't look at me, I've never had any money.
Depends on how wealthy you are.
Normal is relative, right? I mean, I don't know, I'm just trying to hang on to it.
Oh, like save it?
I suppose it is your money. So, I mean, I don't imagine also a carnival game is really going to cost you. It's not going to be probably the thing that puts you in debt, but...
Just don't wager a lot if you play a betting game, that's all.
Tiefling, they're not carnival games. Just it has a carnival atmosphere.
Right,
There are people gambling at tables. It's not.
No,
it's not like
water guns and horses.
Yeah. No, it is not.
You want to stuff animal, Orba?
Yeah.
I'll win you one.
Tiefling, have you never had money before?
No, not really.
Well, gambling is very fun, but be careful.
The problem with it is, I don't know if you saw that, I'm gonna try to kind of find the angry guy.
Yeah, he kind of stormed over to the dining area, and he seems to like go over and talk to a couple people, sits down, one of them hands him an ale, they kind of angrily drinks.
Yeah, bad day gambling, right? So what happened to him is he got really excited about doubling his money, and instead he lost all of it, right? So that's the danger that we're looking at here.
But he's gonna do it again? Like
No, well, see, the thing is that
Almost
actually it's kind of inadvisable, right? I mean, but yes, almost certainly he's definitely going to do it again. That's kind of the problem with these things, right? So.
And at that moment, seemingly contradicting your point, you see another guy kind of come up and go, whoo! And sort of rolls the dice with some vigor. Seems to be sort of on a roll there.
see that looks like fun. That part.
See, right, but that part is fun, and the problem is that part is just infinitely less likely, actually, than the other outcome. Is the problem.
Put aside a few gold for yourself and go try it if you want to.
Okay. Do we need to do things?
Well, I mean, I suppose we pop round. It's quite a few, heads to look through. So
I'm gonna go into the. Does it seem like the tavern and the lodgings are the same place?
It's hard to tell. There's definitely that outdoor dining area that clearly serves food and drink. There might be something inside. You haven't been inside.
But that's not. But that. Oh, so the outdoor dining area is attached to the sort of what we presume is the.
No, those appear to be separate. And the sign pointing to the lodgings did have that like leg of lamb on it, so they might have a kitchen as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's possible that those are two.
I'm gonna try the lodgings first. See if I can get us a room and ask about Joella.
Okay.
Should we not split up a lot?
It's alright. I'll stay here with you.
I'd rather stay with someone than.
All right.
wander
Why don't you
with
come
man.
with me and we'll book a room and we'll be right back out and you can gamble with the tiefling.
Okay.
Okay, I'll stay out here with you guys. I suppose I can wander about while you're playing games.
Okay. 5 gold.
Are you willing to lose 5 gold?
Yeah.
Okay then.
Okay.
Alright, we'll follow Erland and Beezaura, so you guys head off toward the lodging area. Great. So you guys kind of enter in.
Both instantly arrested.
What did you say?
Both instantly arrested.
Seriously.
He just walks into the tavern. You!
The tavern is nothing but mutants.
End of campaign number 1.
And you guys enter into this sort of modest lobby. There's only a couple other people around beside a guy that's sitting behind sort of a large countertop. Sort of fairly nicely dressed, not extravagantly, but seems to have put himself together a little bit. Seems to be a tiefling man who's sort of there. He has a quill in hand. He seems to be sort of writing, and he sees you as you guys come in. Ah, welcome. Are you passing through?
Yeah, just looking to book a couple of rooms for the night if you have availability.
Sure, we do. 2?
How many beds are in each room?
2 beds per room.
2 rooms is fine, yes.
Alright. They won't be together, is that alright, next to each other?
Yes, that's fine.
Close by.
Alright. We have
You can.
14 and 19. They're both on the second floor.
That's fine.
14. It's 7 silver per room per night.
Alright, just one night then.
Alright. Excellent. Coming from south?
Yep. Am I giving him... Am I giving him 14 silver or...
Go through
Do you
first.
have? I mean, I can pay for it, or pay for half of it, or pay for all of it. I'll pay for it.
Okay.
Wow, he just duped you. Just got you good.
Erland did the look in his bag and went...
And I hand him some.
14
Alright.
silver, right?
You just take down...
Oh, 14?
14 and 19, yes.
No. It was 7
Oh,
each or 7 total?
7 each. 7 for each
Oh, so
room.
14.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think those are... What room numbers did I give?
It was
14.
14.
19. Yeah, that was correct.
So that's 14, so that would have to
breaking our
use 2
James brain.
gold. Sorry, I'm just doing the math.
1 gold,
1
4
gold,
silver.
4 silver. For the 2 rooms.
1 gold, 4 silver.
Because it's 7 silver per room.
You know what? I'm just gonna do
I'm starting to wonder
Keep
how
the
good
change.
it sounds.
minus 14 silver, and then I'm just gonna.
Beezaura, keep the change
Just gonna
quick.
do that. We'll do the math in a minute.
How much silver do you have and how much gold do you have?
I have 1,018 gold.
We'll go through it later.
Okay.
So I just need to do that.
Okay.
That's fine.
Second floor.
Sure. What name am I putting it under?
Erland, for both rooms.
Erland for both rooms.
What?
He seems to be sort of just making a mark of it in his book. So, where are you coming from?
The south, initially.
Where in the south?
Where do we hail from, or what was the most recent town we visited?
Just asking where you're coming from.
Oh, Orange River.
Excellent. Alright. Erland, room 1419, takes a key, sort of slides it across the desk. And how many are staying total in those 2 rooms, just so we have a capacity, so we don't go over capacity?
Oh, is there an amount you're allowed to have in each room?
Yes, no more than 3 per room.
Oh, alright, then 5 in total.
Alright.
He sort of looks at you skeptically.
It'll be 2
One's
in
very
one
big
and
and
3
one's
in the
very
other.
Alright, that's fine. Alright. Excellent. So, you're welcome up there. We have a kitchen. It's limited to patrons only, so if you prefer here as opposed to the outdoor dining, which can be loud, you're welcome to.
Thank you.
I was supposed to meet a friend here, I believe. Joella, has she checked in at all?
Look. Yes, I have a Joella here, yes.
Oh, alright. Are you allowed to tell me what room she's in?
No.
Or do I just meet her in the sort of tavern area?
She stayed in here a number of times. I don't believe she's in her room at the moment.
Alright.
Does she frequent your kitchen or more outdoor eating?
Some of both. She comes here rather frequently, so I've seen her a number of times.
Great. Hopefully we'll find her soon.
Sure.
Alright, keys?
If I see her, should I tell her that you're looking for?
No, we'll bump into her. Hopefully it'll be fine.
That's alright.
All right.
Do you have the keys, or...?
Yeah, he slid.
He gave them to you.
I'll give one of the keys to Beezaura.
Holds the keys. Are there keys?
Any fun events happening here today? Other than the usual?
I think they play games out in the thoroughfare, if that's your kind of thing, or welcome to do some shopping. I know a number of people stay here at Leopold's to distribute their wares.
I heard rumor there was, I'll lean in a little bit. I'm not sure if this is allowed, but the fight nights, are those quite popular? Where the prisoners fight?
I haven't heard anything about that.
Let's draw more attention.
Alright. Well, thank you very much. I
Yes,
appreciate
of course. I'll see you when you... Are you headed up now?
No, we're gonna...
And did you take a carriage or horses or anything?
Horses, yes.
You will have to either stable the horses or register for a plot if you brought a carriage.
Where's the stable?
It's just right across.
Do we need to pay extra for...
Yes, it's not included.
Do we do that with you, or do we do that?
No, there's someone else over there that will take care of you.
Alright, thank you.
Security's provided, though. They have an excellent reputation.
Great. And your name, sir? Sorry.
Donald.
Donald?
Yes,
Well, thank you very much.
of course.
We'll see you later.
Alright, so take a step away from him a little bit, and he goes back to writing in his book.
Should we take everyone's horses to the stable?
Yes, probably. Yes, I think so. I'm so skeptical of every single person we talk to at this point.
You are. I'm just trying to make it out of here alive, Erland.
Alright, about that, are we far enough away from anyone that I could say something to her?
quieter, sure. It's
there's
it's quieter in here, but there's a significant amount of din coming from the outside and stuff. I mean, it's
I did want to talk to you about that briefly.
Sure.
Obviously before I knew we were heading to Leopold's Garrison, obviously before I knew that was where you even came from, I mentioned some things about the Tiefling to you.
Yes.
I assume that you will still not tell anyone. I know that you are wanted here, and if they catch you, if they try and use something against you for leverage, you're not going to use that information against the Tiefling, are you?
No, and I already told her I wasn't.
Alright. I'm trusting you with that information.
I know.
She's trusting you with that information.
I know, Erland.
Alright. Let's try and get out of here alive then, shall we?
Please.
Have you guys head outside? Are you headed to the stables?
The stables, yeah.
We'll say loop this in with the kind of transactions. Are you? It's let me look up really quick.
I'll keep a running tab for them.
Yeah, you got this? Do you got? Or can I? No. You don't have to.
It's
But I can.
5 silver per night per horse.
So,
So
15. No.
25.
25 silver.
25.
I mean, if they come kind of past us again with the horses or to get the horses.
Yeah, I mean, we can say this
We can
all
say,
out.
yeah,
We don't need to
like
do the mundane.
25
I'll flick a
silver
gold.
is 2 gold, 5 silver.
Yes, that is correct.
I'll flick a gold in to whoever's paying for shit.
Alright.
All right, so going back out to the outside before Erland and Beezaura come back, we head over.
What did that guy say his name was? I'm so sorry.
Donald.
Donald.
So we head back out to the thoroughfare where Orba, Graven, and Safira are kind of headed toward the
Games.
kitchen. The gambling is going. Great, you head over there. It seems to be sort of 2 general games going on. There's the card game that's sort of going on. They kind of seem a little more contained and intense. Like they look like seasoned players of the game. That they know the cards very well. But then there's also the larger portion of the group is playing simple dice games. It looks like some sort of rolling dice games. You see a number of people kind of reacting to the rolls that are happening on the table. So those are the kinds of.
Well,
What do I play?
Well, that would be up to you.
dice is probably more about luck, and cards would be more skill-based, strategy.
Do you know how to play cards?
Nope.
Dice it is then. Dice it is.
Oh, you think so? Okay.
Well, I mean, if you don't know how to play, I don't think you're going to learn instantly.
You would know. Drop the Crown is complicated enough that, Safira could play it right now, but for you to play it, you'd literally be learning as you were playing with it. It's not super simple, so.
Okay.
But
Okay, let's do dice.
Okay.
Here we go. Orba's gonna find an open
okay,
spot.
you head over. There's a group of 4 guys. There's 2 dwarves, an elf, and a human. They're all kind of crouched around, and there's one bench on one side that has kind of 2 open seats that are there. They're all kind of hovered around, and one guy's kind of taking the dice and sort of rolling them a little bit. And he looks like he's pointing at one of the guy's piles, and he's like, "I think you took some of mine." And he's like, "No, I didn't take." She gives him a little shove. He sees you approach. Hi there, miss.
Hi.
You gonna play?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Game's pig. You know how to play?
Nope.
And then he kind of looks to the others. All right.
How do I play?
Is anyone sitting with
I'll
her?
sit down.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're sitting down there with her.
I'm just going to kind of
boy.
stand behind. I'm watching, and particularly I'm watching and listening for, names. If
Okay.
people, say each other's names. If I
Sure.
hear Joella, then I want to know.
Definitely.
Orba's also gonna have her bag nice and tight on her lap.
Okay.
For thieves.
Game's simple, right?
Yeah.
Take a die. Keep rolling until you get 1, or you say stop, right?
Okay.
If you say stop, you add all the numbers that you've rolled up to that point, and they go into the bank. Can't be taken away.
Okay.
It's the first 1 to 40, but if you roll a 1, you lose everything from that round.
From that round.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
That's pretty easy.
How
We all
many
ante
numbers
in?
are on this die?
Hmm?
How many numbers are on this die?
Well, 6 takes out standard.
Not a d20.
Fair enough.
It's 2 gold ante.
2 gold.
Winner takes the pot.
Looking around at other people's piles and stuff, does it look like everybody's paying with gold?
I mean, it's mostly silver pieces, but I mean, putting in enough too. I mean,
Yeah.
Give me an insight check too.
Okay. Because it just seems high. Insight?
Yeah.
9.
It's hard to tell. I mean, they
Yeah.
certainly have enough to ante that up. It does seem kind of high, but you never know.
Seems a bit high for a first wager.
Well, we like to play risky, bigger rewards.
There's no 1 gold pots we can play first, is there?
Not at this table.
That's Safira laughing.
Turn around and look at him.
Would you like to play there, miss?
No, I'm fine. I'm totally fine.
All right.
So do I have to put the bet down every round?
No. Just put it in the beginning. Winner take all.
Okay. I'll do it. Okay, 2 gold.
2 golds.
Orba will...
So you're playing against 3 other people. Here.
Yep.
Okay, Orba's gonna not take out her coin purse. She's just gonna reach into her thing so they don't see my massive
Bulging
coin purse.
purse.
And I'll put
Why
down 2
does
gold.
this cross?
And he takes one of the die. Newbies go first.
Okay.
Graven takes it. Great. All right. So, is there any questions that you have about it?
No.
pretty
I was
simple.
just playing this game the other day.
Wait, really?
Dice?
Yeah, I was teaching it.
Yeah, it's very simple sort of dice game. So
But
it's
we didn't
for-
go to 40. 40's hard.
Okay, so 1
Don't
or
roll a
stop.
1.
Don't roll a 1. 2.
Oh, starting slow. No problem.
1.
Back down to 0. Tough luck.
6. 8. 10. I'll hold.
All right. And a little bit of like faces around. So now it's gonna go around the 3 of them. So keep track of your total. So the first guy goes.
I see how this works.
All right, here we go. 3.
Gonna keep an eye on his.
Yeah, you can. 9.
Oh.
10. Yeah, 11. One more. All right, 14. I'll hold.
Oh, that's very good. Good job.
And now it's the guy who's sort of introducing. All right, here we go. Oh, god damn it! Hands off the dice to the next guy.
I feel like I have the same demeanor as this guy. I'm like,
And the next guy, like, he's sort of a little polished, sort of takes a die. Fool. 4. You're taking all our luck. And he kind of tosses the die across the table.
Oh my goodness.
Me, an intellectual.
Alright, so 14 and 11 are the numbers to beat? 10.
I have 10.
It's 14 and 10. 4. 1.
Tough luck.
Oh, that's not.
Very
You can re-roll that. Yeah.
4. 9.
19. 24.
14. I'll hold at 24.
good job. What do you do to 40?
All right, let's rack them up here.
Pressure's on, friend.
Oh, God. Passes the die to the next guy.
Oh.
All right.
I like this game.
I can feel a big run coming right now.
Rough. This game is
And he like sort of shoves the table a little bit.
that guy!
All right, let me show you how it's done. Hands the die to Orba.
You
Wow.
don't have a second die by any chance, because these seem like crap.
So now it's still just 14 and 9, which is 24.
Yep.
Oh, you gotta play cool, man.
This one looks good. 4. 7. 10.
Slow down.
Is that cocked?
Go ahead and roll that one.
Yeah, that's
13.
Can go again. if
One
you
more.
want. Okay.
Oh no.
Go ahead, Garvin.
Don't look at it. Don't look at it.
Too much.
It was a 6.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
Was it really?
Yeah.
What was I at? 13?
13.
I think.
Yeah.
16. I will hold.
All right. That's a good run. That's a good run.
Thank you, yes.
I suppose.
26, 27.
Count this round on its own because you don't
Oh,
lose
yeah.
everything if you
That's
roll a
right,
one.
that's
Yeah, you only lose
So
from
3.
this round.
3. 5. 10. 14. I'll hold.
So you're at
38.
38. Okay.
What?
Do I have to hit it exactly?
No, you only have to reach for it.
I've definitely done one.
All right, he places the die on the table. Here we go. 2. 4. 9. 12.
Oh no.
Oh no.
15.
You're getting greedy.
He had to make a run. He had to make a run.
You fool.
This is my guy.
That's
All
the
right.
14 guy?
Yeah, that was the 4. The other guys have nothing.
All I need is literally not to roll a
I
1.
know.
Yes.
Well, you
All
said that before. Sorry.
I'm gonna get my gold.
Likely story.
Here we go. 2. 7.
Oh my goodness, friend.
All right. I don't want the newbies taking our money, so I guess I'll have to do it. Oh god.
This game is wrong!
Okay, so you're only like 2 away, right?
Yes.
So I gotta go for it, right?
You must.
Okay, here we go. 2. 8. This one.
All right. All comes down to this.
Come on.
Graven's like not even gonna look down at the table. He's just gonna look at the other three guys like.
Well played, sir. Well played. And they push the gold. So you collect
So
10
4,
gold.
6, 8. Oh, 10
Plus yours.
plus
yeah.
mine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yes, you
Graven,
gain
you
8.
won.
I did.
You got it.
Oh.
You'll be buying me an ale later.
And if you ever want to come back, we'll play a little 2-die pig.
Oh.
How does that change the game?
Man, it works the same way, but if you roll a double one, you lose everything.
Is it still to 40?
No, we play to 60 with that. And if you roll a double number that isn't double one, you're forced to roll again even if you want to hold it.
Whoa.
That's so many different things that change.
Yeah, just 2 mostly.
You think about the game.
What's the wager for that one?
We usually do double.
So 4 gold.
That's still within my budget.
You want to try it?
Have we finished up the horses yet?
We can say you've been wandering over it about this
I don't
time.
want to get yelled at for not keeping busy. Are there any other things we need to do?
We can play another round of the game. It's okay.
And you guys have come over. You've joined Safira, basically,
Yeah.
sort of standing at the back of this table here.
How many times have they played this already?
Just once, but I was thinking, the 3 of us maybe, while they're playing, if we could wander around, I think we should think of how we want to approach this Joella character, but the first step is to find her.
Well, she
We
is
know she-
staying.
Oh, you do? Oh, brilliant. Where
We
is
don't know where she is, but
Oh.
she is staying at the same place that we would be staying.
Oh, brilliant. Well, then at some point in the night she'll have to wander back through, right? So,
We
That's
can
the
only
hope.
suppose.
right. Well, should we discuss what sort of, the strategy might be of getting her to stop, I don't know.
Perhaps in a quieter location?
thing? I guess that's true.
Should we go to...
Got a couple of new players here? Anyone?
It's really fun, you guys.
I won some gold.
He did?
Yes, Graven won.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on, give us a chance to get our money back.
Do you guys want to
What's
play?
the buy-in?
4 gold?
Come on, Erland.
Alright, who we got?
Oh, me, 4 gold.
Excellent.
I'll play again.
Excellent. I'm Grohl, by the way.
Alright, fine.
Roll?
Fine,
Yep.
Fine.
This is Tonham. And this is Stum.
You guys play a lot together?
I guess I'll play.
Yeah, when we're here at the Garrison. We know all the locals.
Oh yeah, you travel through a lot?
Yeah, we come through here, do some supply runs. We usually try to spend the night in Leopold, have a good time.
Where are you from originally? Where do you live normally?
Or Vikapur.
Alright.
So he explains the game to you. It's the same kind of thing. It's to 60. And once again, the 2 alternate rules are, if you roll a 1 on either die, your round ends.
Okay.
And you lose all the points for that round.
Right.
But if you roll a double 1, you lose everything.
That is...
And if you roll any other double number, you must roll again.
yeah,
You can't hold.
So you could be going 2s, 2 2s, 2 3s, 2 4s, 2 5s. Like,
and you have to keep going. Yep.
Oh, goodness.
But
So-
there's no point bonus for getting double numbers?
No.
Okay.
But I mean, you can rack up numbers pretty quickly. It's only to 60,
Yeah.
so
Right.
you could get there pretty faster than.
Who's going first?
So who is playing?
Yep.
Everybody?
Everybody?
Oh, everyone's like squeezing into the bench. Oh, we got a good one here.
Oh my god, so 4 gold from 2
Yeah, so
Yep.
we've got now
5
the
and
hottest
the
line.
3.
And the 3 of them, yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. Okay.
All
It's been
right.
hot.
Does anybody want to do that math real quick?
I can't.
thanks.
Don't look
4
at me.
times...
Don't
Eight,
you
no,
touch
8
the
times
calculator.
4.
Beep, boop, beep, boop.
Oh,
Beep,
8.
beep, beep, beep.
Yeah, 5 of you, 3 of them.
Oh, yeah, you did it backwards. Yeah, sorry.
You did
You did the multiplication backwards. Alright.
We got a rule. Newbies go
32.
first. So which of the newbies want to go first?
All right.
Start us off there.
It's 32 gold, if anyone.
Oh my god.
Shit.
What'd you roll?
1 and a 2.
Okay. Oh, that's a rough one. All right, pass it along.
That's
Pass
how
it
we
along.
started early, don't worry.
I've got 7. Okay. And, okay, 9.
Oh, no. So 16?
16 to a running total.
Yeah, this is...
16.
Oh, you got a calculator right
You can
there.
get the calculator.
And, yeah, no, that's double ones.
Oh, hold away.
I guess
Now it's like
anyone
do it.
would have been
Yeah, anyone
the same
Yeah, I
thing.
mean, yeah.
All right,
Your
back
turn.
along.
Oh,
We'll just go
going
for the
over.
ease of it. We'll go.
Okay.
Relax.
My turn. Another one.
Oh, it's a tough start.
I only have one.
And the other guy who's sitting to his right is like, I know a little something about that. Difficult starts.
8. 8 and 9 is 17. I'll hold it 17.
All right. That's a good hold.
I only have one die. Is that okay?
Oh,
Can I just roll another one?
do you mind?
Here.
taking
No, I
it?
don't care.
Yeah.
I could just roll 7. 7?
Oh.
7. 19?
And was that double sixes?
Yeah.
So you have to roll again.
Oh.
19 plus 28. Ah! No, 20.
Yeah, that's
No.
28.
I don't know what you're
19 plus
adding.
9.
19 plus 9
Oh,
is 28.
28.
I will hold.
Oh, that's a good run. That's
Wait,
a good
another
run.
fucking Thing.
She doesn't need more gold.
All right. Here we go.
No, we're competitive.
You guys already owe me some.
8, and that's doubles. Got to roll again.
Alright.
All right. So 15. Going again. Oh, right. 23. I'm holding there.
Goodness.
All right. So what do you have? 23.
23. Oh no. This game.
All right. Let's go here. All right. Starting off with an 8. Not bad. Good little fella. All right. That's a 7. 15. You know what? I had a bad round. No, 15. A coward as usual. Let's roll these dice. 9.
Damn it.
That's 4. I must roll again, so 13. Oh, double 6.
Ooh.
That's 25, and I must roll again.
Oh my goodness.
Double 3. Oh. That's 31, and I must roll again. No! Passes back to him. You can see him kind of grumble.
All right. 6. 17. I'm holding that.
That's good. Good choice.
Okay. Right. Okay, I've got 5. And I've got 6.
11.
Thank you. Yeah. Well,
Tough luck.
better luck next time.
Okay, my turn.
All right, let's see it.
8. 15.
Oh, pushing a luck.
24.
Ooh.
Who's got the most?
23, one of the
28.
3. Oh, 28. Beezaura's 28.
Yeah.
Oh, I like to see it.
24 plus 9 is 33.
Goodness.
Hold.
Oh, that's a good hold there. That's a good.
It's a good hold.
33. 7. 9 and 7 is
No, that's
16.
10.
Oh, 10. Yes, thank you.
And is that double 5s?
No.
Oh.
17
For this round.
for this
Yep.
round.
Yeah.
17 plus 8, 25. I will hold at 32.
32.
Oh, good job.
8. 16.
Whoosh, starting strong.
Uh-oh. She wants it.
You should do it.
Oh, you think so?
Cowards never win.
Speak for yourself, sir.
Oh, these two are going Brentstones
16
together.
plus 28.
Gross.
So that would be 38. No, that's a
16
lie.
44?
Oh,
16 plus 28.
44. I'll hold there.
44.
All right, following up a big first round. Here we go.
Let's see it, friend.
All right, 8. That's a good start. Come on. All right, another 8. That's 16. I'm gonna do one more. I'm gonna push it one more.
Okay.
Oh no, I shouldn't have pushed it. All right.
Leah, are you okay? Oh my god. She loves this guy.
Alright, we can do this.
You're
Alright, I'm starting 8. That's good. Slow and steady. That's another 8, 16. I have to roll again. 2 4s. That's 10. Oh, that's 10. That's 26. Plus my 15. I'm going to hold there. That puts me at 41. Right? Yeah. What did you hold at?
44.
44. Alright,
I actually think I held it 42. 17 plus 25 is 42.
Yes.
Okay. 42.
Alright, time to go on a big run.
Sure.
5. This game sucks. It's time for us to move on to another one. And he passes the dice to Erland.
Dude, that guy is another point.
Nope. Last round was the first round he got to roll more than once.
Yeah.
I tend to agree with you.
Yes, time to move on, I think.
Okay. That's 8. Okay, that's 7.
15.
Nice.
That's nothing. That's absolutely nothing.
Are you at 0?
All in the same
Not
boat.
0.
Okay.
Sure.
Right.
Doesn't keep going for
At
that.
Go on, young one.
We gotta catch up sooner.
6. No, it's not 1.
The game is to 60, yes?
So 60. What are you at right now?
42.
42. 18 to win.
9.
17.
My first one.
Oh, that's a tough one. She's awfully close. So what are you at right now?
44.
44. Alright, 16 to win.
7.
7.
This is gonna
Oh!
Single one or double one?
One.
Alrighty, here we go. 23 for me. Big time. Oh, man. Pass the die. Alright. I've got this. I'm at 41. 19 to win. Come on. 3 good rolls.
Double 1.
8. So I need 19 to win. Alright, 8. 6. That's 14.
Oh, golly.
Oh. 5 to win. Also, I'll clarify this on his turn. If you roll doubles and are over, you must roll again, even if you're over 60.
Oh, no.
Oh, that sounds risky.
Alright. 5 to win. I can do this.
Oh my god.
4!
Wait, that must have been doubles then.
It
right?
was. It was
Oh
2
my
twos.
god. So he has
Gotta
to.
roll. Yeah! That's what I'm talking. He takes the
that the
pineapples.
Let's just kill him.
That was the original guy.
Yeah, that was the main.
Gave
Oh, that was
rolls.
Grohl?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, that was Tom.
Yeah, that
No,
was
that was the second guy.
Tom was the main guy.
That
Goal was
the
his
second
left.
guy.
Yep,
Yeah.
Stone was.
Second guy.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You're all good sports. Well played. Well played. We're gonna grab a drink. Might be around later if you're in for another round. See.
Yeah, let's go play more games.
You staying in Leopold's for a while?
At least tonight.
That's good. Well, enjoy your stay.
Thanks.
Plenty of regulars around here. They're happy to share a game if you want.
What else is there fun to do other than gambling and drinking and eating here? Any events?
What else do you need?
Pretty great.
Are there
to
any,
me.
events, competitions?
Not that I know of. Do you know something? I'd love to get a piece.
First time here.
Well, like I said, enjoy. If I can help you with anything, show you around, let me know.
Right, yeah, cheers.
One of our friends actually is supposed to be here as well. I think she's staying in the same place as us, but she wasn't there at the moment. Do you know Joella?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she's a regular. Most of us know Joella. How do you know her?
Oh, we go way back. I haven't seen her in years, actually. So.
Make a deception check.
Oh God, sorry. What am I doing right now?
Deception.
Yes, 10.
10. Sort of looks at you. Huh. Well, if you want, you can say hi to her. He points over.
Oh shit.
A few tables over. Looks like she might have been playing a game of cards. You see a woman who's sitting and laughing amongst a crowd of friends. She has 2 long strands that kind of fall on either side, framing her face, but otherwise has kind of a short, shaggy haircut, greasy brown hair. Short, it's unevenly cut. She's got broad shoulders that are visible because of the tank top style tunic that she has on. And with hands that look like they haven't seen a wash in days, she looks like she's flipping a coin between her fingers, kind of back and forth. So she's sitting there with 6 other people kind of around the table, possibly enjoying a game of cards. That's alright, over there.
Oh yeah, it is her.
Yeah, say hi if you want.
Thank you.
Yep, we're gonna grab a drink.
Right,
Good
cheers.
game.
Thank you.
Grabs the dice, he walks. So you guys are sitting here at the table.
You know, maybe we should infiltrate her card game so that we can get close to her.
Yeah, well, what I was kind of thinking, it's not a bad idea entirely. I just think that we should figure out how we can get her alone, which might have to happen at night, because then, we can, I don't know, threaten her in some way.
I was going to say,
It is basically
Yeah,
nice,
it's
by the
nighttime.
way.
Well,
I mean,
I was thinking, Safira, since you know so much about card games, if you engage in a game and then ask her for a drink afterwards.
what is the
Do you
strategy
think
here with this
that's true?
Joella?
Well, I think,
Just
I don't
going
know.
to beat her up? Or?
No, I mean, I suppose you say, you ought to be doing your job, and then if she,
I don't think she's going to respond to a
Back?
scolding.
well, yeah.
You
I don't know
could-
what to do.
What if you
I don't know what to threaten her
lured
with.
her into your room with your feminine wiles again, like you did Nora Chupa?
I mean, yeah, I did. Safira kind of I could try. I don't know if she goes for that kind of thing, but yeah, sure, I'll give it my best shot. I'm not sure how, my wiles will do, but yeah. I mean, if I can get her alone in our room, in one of our rooms that we're renting, that would actually be kind of ideal.
Alright, but that's still step 1. What's step 2 and 3?
Right, how do we make her right her wrongs?
Not spend money at Leopold's Garrison. Or not spend...
I suppose if I can get her sort of, in a vulnerable position, then maybe there's something the information or something that we can blackmail her with.
Do we have information?
Well, no, but I'm assuming maybe I can extract some from her. I'm not sure.
I understand. Yes, blackmail. Yes.
It seems like she has a number of friends around here.
Well,
yes,
also
just
she's a
walking up-
gambler, so I'm assuming that she might be she might be in some debt to someone.
No,
right?
it sounds like she's using the money that she's supposed to be spending on the rations and
No, but that's
Gambling.
exactly what I'm saying. Is I'm sure
We
she's
need to
pissed someone off.
convince her.
She's got to have it.
Or if she just is having fun and losing the money that she...
I think we'll have a better idea once we get to know this woman.
So is the plan that... Should we not be with you and lure her into the room?
Also, it wasn't that she wasn't coming back with... that she was coming back empty-handed. She was coming back with extra things, but only for the guards.
No, she was spending some of the money.
a little of both, yeah.
Yes, that the halflings were supposed to have.
She would go spend some money, and then when she came back, it was with some supplies, but not as much as she was supposed
So the plan is for Safira to seduce her and then have us waiting in the room to beat her up?
Well, no, not beat her
I
up.
don't think
But
we
I
can
suppose intimidate her.
Intimidate her?
I don't know. I mean, maybe not waiting in the room. I'm not sure. I don't know how to get other information about her. I
While
mean,
you're playing cards.
I mean, yeah, I think maybe we start with me sitting down and playing cards with her. I suppose if anyone else knows how to play, you can play with us and see if we learn any information there. And then, I don't know, I suppose I'll gauge her interest in having a drink.
to. Would any of us know that game? Safira?
Outside of Safira?
I
No,
know
it's
it,
played
but-
mostly in like sort of military settings. It's played more in
I'm not trying to get in any sort of altercation, so if you would like to do that, that's your job.
Okay.
I was kind of looking over there at the moment.
I am.
Give me a perception check.
I regret having said that. 15.
15. As the group's sort of discussing around this little table that you were playing dice at, your eyes kind of wander over to catch a peek at her table over there. And you see, for a moment, he would look like he was sort of moving in a trajectory towards the cafe or the sort of dining area. And Tonham deviates. And he walks over, kind of in her direction, puts a hand on her shoulder.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Turn around, turn around, turn around,
Yeah.
turn around. Orbit. Turn around, turn around, turn around.
Okay.
I'm gonna I turn to not face them.
And after a moment,
And I'm gonna kind of look, if she's coming over here, then maybe I fuck off, and then, she
What?
doesn't know that
I
I'm with
think
you
it's
guys.
a little
I
late.
think
No.
that she's been staring at this is horrible.
I think she knows you're
I
with
think
us.
I think we're in for it.
And she walks over, and she's kind of got her hands in her trouser pockets, and she stands at the edge of the table. Mind if I have a seat?
No, help yourself.
She slowly kind of sits down, crosses her legs a little bit. My ears are burning. Who the fuck are you? Old friends, right?
Well, no, clearly we're not your old friends. Who the fuck are you?
Really? Oh, I thought you were old friends. That's such a disappointment.
Yeah, hilarious. This is adorable. Who are you?
You came looking for me.
What do you mean we came looking for you?
You gave him my name.
Who?
Said you knew me. Tonham.
Look, I think you've got the wrong people. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
You were playing dice with him.
Yeah.
He walks over and says that you're old friends of mine.
Okay.
So?
Well, look, you don't look like you know us. I certainly don't know you, so I don't understand the problem.
Anybody else care to weigh in on this? Sort of a strange misunderstanding. Point me out of a crowd, say me by name.
We didn't pull you out of a crowd. You seemed to wander over towards us and then claim that you knew us in some way.
You seem to me like you're being intentionally difficult.
Am I? You seem to me like you're being intentionally difficult, so I think we could probably do this all day.
What you want?
You came over to us. I'm assuming that you want something from us, no?
We would have you spend Hackerton's money correctly.
Mr. Hackett sent you, huh?
No.
Make a persuasion check.
21.
Could have just kept playing stupid, guys.
So who then? What do you care?
Interested parties.
Friends of yours?
Not directly.
No. Little halflings running around doing their jobs.
Watch your mouth.
Where do you think you are, love? Oh, all right. I'll just get my horse, go back with the supplies. Not likely.
You've got a sweet little setup here, don't you?
Could be worse.
Certainly. You
See,
would
I
want
come
it to
here,
get
spend a
mix.
little coin, make sure I'm not depressed, because if I'm depressed, can't do my job. You know how it is.
Yeah, it must be real fucking hard, don't you think? Just managing all those little halflings getting in your way, right? That must be a really, really difficult job. You must be breaking your back. It must be depressing. That's why you have to self-medicate, no?
My job's hard.
How much do you want to bet
Fools
that I
like
can't
you
walk
show
around
up.
here and find one of these people who you owe a ton of money to? You think I can't do it? I will spend the rest of the night doing it. I'll spend the rest of the night finding every single one of these fuckers that you owe a debt to, and I'm gonna have them chase you down because I know who you are.
Make an intimidation check.
Wow. I don't think I have any really great modifier, do I? I have nothing. No, fucking not intimidating at all. 11.
Oh my God.
That's above a 10. Well, it's above a 10, I know, but I have nothing.
You came at her a little hard, and you know, part of it is at first she sort of brushed you off, but sort of doubling down on the implication that, you know, you're not afraid of her. She doesn't seem afraid of you, but she seems to be listening, and she sort of gives it a little bit of thought. Are you gambling types? You said you might know people who have an idea about whether or not I have debts.
I usually go in for more of a sure thing myself.
Are your fists a sure thing?
Mine are.
Is this all of you? 5?
All you need worry about at the moment.
You seem disproportionately unconcerned. I'm sorry, who the hell do you think you are that you think the 5 of us aren't intimidating?
What's your offer?
I'll fight you for it.
You'll fight us. You'll fight us for the... Okay.
Yeah.
No weapons. Is that what you're suggesting?
What do
That's
you...
right.
You're gonna take us on, all 5 of us? You're gonna take us on?
No.
No, just one of us.
Okay.
I thought we'd make it a little more interesting.
Really?
Oh, what? You want us to give you money? Now you're gonna make it. There's gonna be a pot. You really are an addict, aren't you? It's unbelievable.
You came at me for my weaknesses. These are my weaknesses.
Yeah,
Alright, what do you got?
Before she continues, I'm just gonna pull Graven. Just like, can I? Just pull
You're
him?
at the table.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Okay, never mind.
If you want to lean
you could
over
say something
me,
to him, but
yeah.
there's no guarantee other people wouldn't hear it. You're literally sitting around like a
That's
small
table.
table.
Okay.
Do you want to say something?
Yeah. Graven.
Speak up so the microphone.
Oh yeah, I'll lean over.
Yes, Raven
I'll
leans
lean
in.
in.
Graven, I'm not getting into any kind of spectacle here. So if you all want to fight a group of people, go for it, but I know I could be of use, but I have to sit out.
I understand. I'll just lean back in.
It's not going to be a street brawl. I'm talking proper pugilism. Nothing below the belt. No cheap shots. Fight's over when you're knocked down twice. I'll even let you pick your opponent. And she motions back to the table that she was sitting at. And all the other 6 people that she was kind of sitting with are all kind of... They can't hear the conversation.
Yeah.
But they're all kind of leaning in, looking to see this interaction take place. Of course, the only rule is I have to be one of them.
So what is it? Each of us fights someone? One of us fights all of them?
Everybody fights. Best of 5.
Oh, I see.
You said you wanted to gamble? You said you
Did
like a
she
sure
say-
thing?
She said no weapons, or?
Yeah, she
She
agreed to
said no
pugilism,
weapons.
fist
Okay,
fighting.
I didn't know.
So we all take one opponent. And if we win, you start behaving responsibly.
I'll leave tonight.
And when you come back, you'll stop messing around. That's the point, I believe.
Well, I think we're talking about today. Are you going to stay here at Leopold's Garrison to make sure that I do right every time?
Nope.
I sort of look at Graven.
No, but I can tell you I have lots and lots and lots and lots of friends.
Yeah, you look it.
Who's the best fighter over there?
Me.
Does that seem true?
Just make an insight check.
Oh.
24.
24. She'd certainly... First of all, you take a look at everyone and sort of give them a general look over. And they all seem in good shape. They all seem soldiers, fighters, guards to some degree. None of them looks like schlubs. They have kind of different body types that picking your opponent, you might be able to pick someone that sort of does have weaknesses or not, depending on what you prefer. There's a couple sort of brawnier guys that look like they're a little possibly slower. There's sort of a lanky guy who kind of has your build, sort of thin, muscular, with kind of long limbs, who looks like he, might be a little quicker. There's a shorter guy who looks like he, might be pretty sort of scrappy, sort of light on his feet. Again, there's different types of people. You get the impression that if she's not the best, she's certainly one of the best. But yes, so it does seem true.
And then a question about pugilism.
Yes.
Ki isn't magic, per se.
No.
So would that be, if I did something Ki related that to knock them down, would that be seen as, would that be frowned upon, or is that just how I fight?
It's sort of just how you fight. If there was, it would be considered cheating in a proper tournament. However, someone might not notice that unless they were aware of what a trained monk could do. So you'd be taking that risk. I will tell you now that there's a pugilism mini-game that we have that is sort of beyond straight rolling to see if you hit or not. And as a monk, you have certain advantages in said game because you are skilled in hand-to-hand combat.
Oh.
Okay. So stuff like... okay, so even stuff like patient defense, where I'm sort of channeling energy, would be potentially...
A trained monk or someone who's worked with them would be able to take, because you have to kind of focus yourself. Yes, it would be
cool. Again,
to a random person, they probably wouldn't.
Do any of them look like they have any sort of training in?
It's possible. Certainly, that's quite a lanky guy that I mentioned. I mean, it's definitely possible. It's hard to tell. They're not wearing anything that indicates that, but it's.
Is there somewhere off the beaten path here so that we might not embarrass you in front of all your friends?
We could go back beyond the tents. Yeah. Don't want to be seen.
As I said, we want to embarrass you in front of all of your friends.
It's not really anywhere to hide. Can't help it if a crowd comes over.
Becca, is this something you want to do?
I wouldn't mind just being the odd man out if you want to do 4 against 4.
No, I wouldn't mind going back to my evening.
Can one of us fight twice?
If you want. I will say now there's certain disadvantages that come with that, but yes, she considers.
Have a think on it. Don't have to be the first to fight if you end up wanting to.
Sure.
Alright, lead the way then? Are we agreed?
Yeah,
Alright.
let's fight.
Who am I fighting?
Why don't we all get together and take a good look at each other before we...
I'm gonna let you pick. And she leans back once more, takes a look.
So we can get a good look at all of them?
Yeah, they're not that far away. They can't hear
Alright.
what you're saying, but...
Is there a big one?
there is. Give me a perception check.
Is there a big?
I want their tallest boy.
Perception.
So you can just break their Achilles.
Does armor get taken off in pugilism?
Yes. It's harmless fighting.
One.
First of all, you can see them.
Yeah.
There looks to be 2 guys that are a little beefier, bigger. They're not Goliaths, but sort of one's a human man, one's an elven man, and they seem to be sort of well built. It's hard to discern any meaningful difference between them, other than 2 sort of well built, sort of larger gentlemen.
We don't know what the... I guess...
Yes, you don't know what
Shit.
I'll take that big elf.
Tundor.
Can I ask a couple of questions?
Yes.
So for spells like mage armor or shield,
That would be
shield is
very
instantaneous, so I can't. But mage armor, I could cast ahead of time and it lasts 8 hours.
obvious. Yes.
Is it obvious that I have like a magical?
Yes. There's like a shimmer.
Okay.
So in there some shining.
Follow up is my bracelets, my shillelagh cuffs.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Oh.
the weapon I'm holding is imbued with nature's thing, and that's
Weapon that you are
so it
holding.
has to be a weapon. My fists aren't weapons.
They are, but it has to be a held weapon.
Okay,
Weapon
so
you're
I'm
holding.
gonna
I would say
I'm gonna get
Orba's
punched in the face.
fists are not weapons, they do 0 damage.
They don't do 0 damage. I told you there's a mini game sort of
Great.
associated with it.
So
Anyone can win.
most likely I can't use any of my fun spelly stuffs.
Not without risking seeing that you're cheating, but
Okay.
Just another dice game, Orba. It's just another
I'm
game.
about to get punched in the face.
I know. I'm not excited.
Go ahead.
so she's gonna let you pick your opponents. I'm gonna explain the game. We're not gonna play it tonight.
No.
We're already a little at the end of time.
Come on, I want to
However,
play this game so bad.
we have invented a sort of little mini game, and I'm not gonna explain all the advantages or ones that you don't based on your scores. But the way it works is this. It's a very straight up sort of boxing game. You can only hit to the head or the body. There's no sort of cheap shots and stuff like that. So, your options are
Yes.
hitting to the head with a sort of a jab,
my
a
God.
strike, or a powerful punch. And we'll bring this up on the... let's bring it up on the big
Yeah, big it up.
So 3 types of jab, strike, heavy.
Yeah, push a little for me. Yeah.
There. Great. And then 3 body shots. Body jab, body strike, body heavy.
Oh my god. So cool.
And then you can do the same attack twice. This is just the I do it twice card. So you could say I do 2 body jabs, so that's just a additional.
So you do combos?
Yes. So in each round, each player throws 2 strikes of any kind that they want. Certain strikes take no fatigue. They say 0, the light jabs and stuff. And the stronger ones take certain amounts of fatigue. We'll go through that as well. So each round you play 2 types of strikes and 1 type of defense that you take. So you play, these are blue, so you play 1 blue and 2 yellow cards. You can do general defense, which is to negate 1 non-heavy attack of your choice. So the other person strikes twice. As long as they didn't do both heavy attacks, you get to negate 1 of them. That's 1 type of defense.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
Footwork, which takes fatigue to play because you're moving around very quickly,
Oh my god.
negates all non-jab attacks. So anything but a jab, it negates.
Okay.
It's like,
I'll give everybody a chance to look over this stuff.
It's, rock,
It's like
paper,
a really
scissors.
complicated
Yeah.
rock,
Yeah.
paper, scissors.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what it's like.
'cause you
There
play
is-
two-
There's Head Protect, which negates all head attacks. So you basically take a round to make sure that you don't get hit in the head. Negates all head
Protect
attacks.
your neck.
There's the same thing for Body. Body Protect. Negates all body attacks. And then the final one is Counter, which is to negate one heavy attack, and you deal half of the damage back to the person from that heavy attack.
Oh, that sounds good.
But it doesn't negate any other types of attack. Is the thing.
Okay,
So
the
yes, only
anticipating
one
it.
heavy. If they throw two heavies, you're still getting hit by one heavy. You only counter one of them. So, like in a round, you could be like, okay, I'm going to do a head jab, I'm going to do a body strike, and I'm going to do general defense or whatever.
So you pick two of the
Two attacks.
and one of the defense.
Yep,
And
two
do
attacks.
you have like a
one
level
defense.
of like mana or energy? That you
Yes,
measure?
that's how it works. So, let's actually do this part now. Everybody get a D20 out.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna use my standard.
Since it's the beginning, of the fight, you're going to be rolling with advantage. You're going to roll twice. And what you're going to do is you're going to add your strength modifier, dexterity modifier, and your constitution modifier all to it, including if it's negative. You would do that as well.
Okay.
So let's start with Beezaura. Roll
Strength,
twice,
dex,
take the
constitution.
larger number. So what was that?
Pretty good.
19.
19, great.
19.
So take 19, what's your strength?
5.
Plus 5?
No.
Oh, that's
The modifier. The
Right.
modifier. Yeah,
Oh,
big
sorry,
modifier.
3.
So 22 plus your dex.
So strong.
2,
24 plus your constitution.
3.
27. That's a massive
Need
starting.
to fight with us.
So your starting fatigue is what we're calling it, is 27. So that's basically like, how long you can stay up
my
before you
God.
get
I'm
knocked
so
out.
nervous.
Let's do Graven.
19
Keep track
was-
of that number.
19 was a good roll.
Yeah.
Okay, 15,
Okay.
16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
20. Great. Graven's starting in a composition or something. I can't remember. We'll call it fatigue because that's what I consistently use. Orba, go ahead.
I love that Beezy is like
At 20.
the most beefy of all of us.
What is it?
Highest is a 4, and my modifiers is a grand total of 0.
Oh my
All right.
god.
Orba starts with 4 as her thing.
Oh.
Safira.
Oh, wow.
I'm so. Oh god. That's a natural 1.
Yeah, with advantage.
That's an 8.
Okay.
Great. And what am I adding? Constitution, Dex, and Strength?
Yep, all 3 of them.
14.
14. Okay, so that's yours. Go ahead and write that down. Make sure you keep track of that.
Thank you.
Wow.
And Erland.
That was a terrible roll.
Okay, 13. So Constitution and Strength knock each other out, so 16.
16. Great. So that's your starting number.
You have to fucking fight with us, please.
Please, we're gonna
You'll
die
be
without
fine, I
you.
promise.
So-
Halflings.
That energy is the pool. So certain attacks take a fatigue to use. So like a heavy attack
Yeah.
costs 2 to use. And then when you get hit with it, you also subtract that. So if you were to get hit with a heavy attack to the head, you lose 8 fatigue for
I'm
that.
gonna die.
Wait, if you get hit with a heavy attack.
This is the damage that it does in
I'm
fatigue.
gonna die too.
Yes,
We're-
but that can be
I'm still
negated
really
if the
such a
person
big
used
game,
either
and now I'm such a
head
big
protect, footwork, or counter. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it negates a heavy attack. So that's the whole thing. You're trying to predict what kind of strikes they're gonna throw.
And does it cost fatigue to throw?
to
a
use the
heavy?
heavy ones, yes.
Okay.
That's
Cost-
it, it costs fatigue only
Yes.
for
The
that.
strike and the
No,
jab.
the strikes cost less fatigue. So it's 0 for the jabs, 1 for the strikes, 2 for the heavy attacks.
Okay.
And that's it. And if you get to 0, you get knocked down. You don't get knocked unconscious. You fall to the ground. At that point, you roll again for your fatigue again, but you only no, not with disadvantage,
Okay.
just not with advantage, just a
Okay.
straight roll.
And you're back up.
Yeah, you're back up. And she's saying 2 knockdowns, you
knockdowns,
lose.
yeah.
You lost your fight.
And
for
what
knockdown.
are the fun monk things?
All of your attacks do 1 extra damage.
Can
Every one
I
of them.
have my jacket?
No. It would be, it would be
Super
very, very
obvious.
obvious that you have it.
Fine.
You have 27.
Yeah.
Dude,
I
know
know
we
Seven.
will tank. You
Rolling a
fight
19
twice.
was actually
That was
really
real nice. That's how it
19 out of
works.
3.
So I'll let everybody take a look at the sort of cards. You just sort of get an idea
damn
of it.
it.
One important thing to know is this is my deck. Is you're not playing me. Like, I'm not trying me as Matt, trying to, like, play you. I have certain, like, rule sets for each character. Like, this character mostly throws heavy attacks. So I have a certain sort of layout that I have for each person that dictates what kind of attacks they use. So you don't have to be like, I think Matt's gonna try and do this. No, like I have character personalities that dictate what kind of moves they use. Does everyone sort of understand?
Yes.
Yeah. What's your usual ability?
20.
That's pretty good.
Well, don't worry. I'm at 14, so I'm gonna save us all.
But you get to roll. You get.
I don't need that base.
When you get knocked down, you get to roll again and get back up.
Safira just talked such a big game. I have so many friends. I'm gonna whoop your ass, and then she's gonna go in there with 14 and just.
They're gonna breathe on you.
I'm just gonna get knocked down.
Yeah, if you get one heavy to the head, you are.
If you throw a heavy, she's already down too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I have regret.
The good thing is they don't know what your starting fatigue is. I mean, I know, but so like they're not like, oh, she can't throw a heavy attack, so I'm not gonna do. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna cheat in that way.
We're just gonna put on a big show,
lots
like
of
walking
counters.
into the ring.
Because all the defenses don't cost anything, right? That's
only footwork.
Okay, footwork.
Because it negates everything but jabs. So footwork's pretty powerful, but it costs fatigue to use it.
And it's one fatigue?
2
or?
fatigue to use footwork.
Not using that.
I mean, lots of counters, I guess.
That's the game, and that's where we'll pick up next week.
Gosh! Wait, I gotta pick who I'm gonna fight.
Joella and her band of thugs is gonna.
Fucking Joella's an asshole. Can we just talk about how much of a jerk Joella has been?
Is this worth it?
I also wouldn't have had her.
I love my people.
Oh wow, that you turned quickly.
You get to beat somebody up, don't you love that?
Yeah, or like get captured and they get like, oh, this little halfling
just
is
a
beating
scrap.
people up out there.
Yeah, that's just
Again, and part of the reason she was saying clean fight, like, no one's gonna beat each other to death.
Right.
Like,
Right.
when you get knocked down, not even knocked out, the
Yeah.
fight's over. Or if you get knocked down twice, so.
Yeah.
It's just a clean scrap between non-friends.
scrappy.
Between non-friends.
I'm gonna knock down my opponent the first time, go to help him up, and inflict wounds.
And pick him up and be like,
You'll have to take out your relic.
yes, that's true.
You could at
You
any
have to
point in
take out your
time
relic and just be like, oh.
turn this into an actual fight.
That's true.
I mean, that is on the table. Like I said, there's certain things that
on
will
the
be obvious if you use them, but yeah. That is where we'll pick it up next week. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I hope that it looks like a tiny bit, but I think it was much, much better in the second half in terms of drop. So
Perfect.
we'll try to figure that out, or possibly just stream at 7:20 in the future to be safe. But that's where we'll pick it up next Sunday, same time.
Oh, boy.
We've made it to Leopold's Garrison.
It's so fun!
Leopold, a lot of fun shit happens at Leopold's Garrison. Gambling, fights, drinking. You did win some money.
Yay!
I've actually been really practiced in that game. I've been playing that with
Oh,
kids,
really?
and I said a lot. I get them off of YouTube by being like, let's play a game. And that's literally, we play that game.
Did you play the 2-die one or the 1-die one?
I did a variation. We had 2. It wasn't exactly the same, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of variations though. But well done, everybody. You made it to Leopold's Garrison. That's where we'll pick it up next week, and we will see what happens. Thank you all so much for joining us. See you next week.
Bye.
you.